live on YouTube, and listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.
We got the Night Rising at the back. We've got Reece with a very late arrival, and Julio with an even later arrival, we should say. But everyone knows what time it is. It is Monday night. Welcome to the World of Football podcast.
And a special guest.
And a special guest coming up soon. In fact, God, the creator. Boy, this is going to be exciting tonight, and boy, are we going to have some fireworks. We're going to have a rant from me, and I know, look at that magic that Reece has got on his t-shirt. What a buy that is. And first of all, before we move on to anything, Reece, show him the Inter Miami.
As you wish.
Beautiful. Look at that. Absolutely stunning.
There's no bigger Bex fan than me. I'm committed to the I'm committed to the cause.
100% stuff. But if you are listening on Spotify, usual welcome in, guys. Hope you are having a good one. But we're going to kick the show off the road. Reece, how are you doing aside from that?
I am very well, thank you. I will admit I am a little tired travelling back and forth. Obviously, I was at the game yesterday. I picked a great time to go to my first game at Old Trafford. Like, fuck me, what an experience! Genuinely incredible experience. But I'm good. My back's still sore. I admit. The only thing with travelling back and forth, like it's. People will say, oh, it's only 3 and a bit hours, like from one train, but my back still persists. My back is a cunt, and my back is genuinely still sore. But I'm happy the way I really enjoyed it. Manchester's a beautiful city as well. Like, if you've never been to Manchester before, I do recommend going. It's stunning. But the stadium was incredible. Like, the atmosphere was intense, start to finish. The game for 120 minutes was unbelievable. Like that, you can never replicate a feeling like that. It was beyond words. It's hard to really put into like words like how I'm feeling from that game. But fuck, brilliant. It's one of the best games. And there was two people were saying yesterday that Ten Hag's like that record that Ten Hag had on the line about Man United having lost to Liverpool in 100 years at Old Trafford in the FA Cup. Fuck, I've never been to a football game where, like, in terms of like circumstance, where every first situation I've went to is a football game, whether it be a Rangers game, anything random like a Livy game or a Scotland game. Every time I've went, that team I've gone to watch specifically has never lost. I've never been to a football game where that team loses the first game. So Man United have continued that tradition. The FA Cup 100 years thing, cool. My record remains.
100% it does, and I cannot wait for this section tonight. I mean, we are going to wait for Julio to jump in as well, and we're even going to welcome our creator on top of that as well. Someone who's going to be a little bit gutted after the weekend, probably just as much as my team. Mr. Douglas Horn, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm not bad, thank you. Yeah, great to be back. It has been an age since I've been on this show. Obviously, it's I don't know how to feel this morning. I thought I woke up from an actual nightmare, but no, I actually woke up reality. But I'm good. Good to be back. And Reece, hope you enjoyed your first experience of a Man United Liverpool game. I'm pretty sure that won't be your last either.
I hope not. It was surreal. Definitely surreal. It's good to see you as well in a football capacity, not a work capacity.
Yes, that's very true. That is very true.
Oh, it's starting already. But honestly, bring it on to when Julio is here. Honestly, it's going to be absolute fireworks tonight. But we're going to push the can. Go for it. Go for it, Reece.
Before we do, just want to say we have 7 people watching. There's 5 people on YouTube, 2 people on X. So if you are watching, please do like, share, and subscribe to the World of Football podcast. Please do check out Nathan's separate channel as well for Cardiff content. Check out mine below, the Weekly Steel Chat, and obviously to check out the Dugout Football channel as well. And let's get straight to it. Let's just get straight to it, boys.
100%. You know what? Let's get started. I think we're going to start with touching up on some of the other quarterfinals. And where do we start with this one? Wolves 2, Coventry 3. That Ellis Sims 97th minute winner. I mean, the magic of the FA Cup. I know how much you hate that statement, Reece, but I'm sorry.
I do, all right? I do.
There was some absolute beauties this weekend. Yeah. Detroit getting the winner. Ellis Sims 97th minute win. Oh. Wolves Coventry had it all, didn't they, lads?
I do. I admit it, all right? Like, live on air. Like, I've said it a few times, but I mean it well. I hate the phrase, the magic of the FA Cup. The reason I hate the phrase is purely and simple. It takes away the element of hard work, in my opinion. Yeah. It takes away that element of measuring heart versus statistics. You can't quantify the effect of heart and determination and a positive mindset with hard work. You can't quantify it, but you can quantify 112 shots on target as an example, which is only in a Barcelona women's game because they're just unreal. You can't get that qualifying quantity. So obviously it's a metaphor for the circumstance of the cup and what it represents for a smaller side, but I've never liked the phrase. I purely believe on the day the hardest working team that purely has more confidence and belief in themselves are going to win. And that's why, for me, the magic of the FA Cup can go fuck itself. The magic of hard work can stand up and rise. So I call it the rise of hard work. Fuck the magic. Fuck the magic. This ain't Harry Potter. And you get fucking done for there. Every fucking time.
Oh,
just behave.
Brilliant.
Just behave. Bye. I'll admit though, like I watched the Coventry game on the train because obviously Doug was talking to me about it in the meantime. So I went and just watched it on the train at the same time. Brilliant game. Coventry just completely nullified Wolves. Like Wolves, yeah. They had the 2 goals, but if you actually watch that game specifically, if you watch. Danny, to be fair, Bella's more famous than me. When you watch that game, start to finish, when you're not, obviously I've just mentioned there about hard work, etc., and that's very important and belief in itself. But if you actually watch that game, start to finish, after you've watched the game, and I've watched it twice just to further add my point, if you watch that game start to finish, what you see completely is which team's the Premier League team and which team's the Championship team. Because when I look at that game, Coventry looked like a Premier League team. Wolves did not at all. They looked so out of it. They looked so beaten. They got the 2 goals that they needed and they thought it's over. Like they genuinely thought it was over, and it's just funny how it's such a meme on TikTok that 2-0 is such a dangerous scoreline. I don't like TikTok, but it's just funny that it's a big recurring meme. So I'm expecting Julio to fucking send me that later. It's just the meaning that if you get to 2-goal lead and you think you're through, then you really need to give your heads a wobble. Because no matter the opposition, you can still bottle a lead. Look at Chelsea. We'll be coming to them very soon. Good to see you, Hella, as well. Julio, obviously, we'll see you very soon. It's good to see you in the chat. Danny as well. Like, everyone's welcome, of course. So get your comments in. The impact of the game is surreal. And Coventry just kept going. Yeah. Like, to them, 2 behind. Did they care? No. I think Wolves were so much, like, they felt so much pressure on themselves, where Coventry were just like, we've got this far. If we make the semis, even better, but hey ho. Piss off, Julio. Just piss off with that. But it's just surreal that the hardest working team that set out themselves was important, and that's what matters. Julio can generally go fuck himself. Reece was not wrong. I wasn't wrong. Simple.
Oh, this is going to be fantastic when all the boys
People can tell you what. people can believe in the magic of the FA Cup, right? And that's completely cool. I've got nothing against that. Because at the end of the day, a cup game really is one-legged. It comes down to the most important things on the day. But I go for the more simple but elegant factor that heart, work ethic, determination, and just pure focus is more important than magic exists. That's my point of view, and end the story. Believe
Absolutely, and you've got to agree with
Hella's
Hella's comment right below there. It is the magic of the FA Cup, and you cannot write off these non-Premier League teams, for example. And if anyone wants to see a proper FA Cup, and I know it does involve my team here, but just look at the 2008 FA Cup run from so many different clubs: Barnsley, Cardiff City, Portsmouth, West Brom. What an insane tournament that was. But Doug, I'm going to touch up on you with what some of the points that Reece came with. Did we see a little bit of arrogance from Wolves there, where they did end up going the 2-0 up, but Coventry and Mark Robbins coming back with all that fight? And we've seen it many a time in the Championship as well, where they have been battling. And do you really think that got them over the line in the end?
First of all, if anyone thought the magic of the FA Cup had gone, I think this quarter-final, this basic FA Cup quarter-finals lived up to its hype. We've obviously seen a 7-goal thriller between arguably two of the greatest English clubs in history, Manchester United and Liverpool. We've seen
the only two English clubs that matter, let's be real.
Yeah, of course. A 5-goal thriller between Wolves and Coventry, 6-goal thriller between Chelsea and Leicester. I have to say, from looking at that game at the weekend, it was just one of those things where you're literally looking after your baby son, and one of the first things you put on is Wolves Coventry. I thought, I'll put it on just to see how it is. What a game of football that was. Unbelievable game of football. Yeah. I've got to say, I thought Coventry played really, really well. I think Ellis Sims had one of those games where he probably should have a hat-trick if he thinks about it, because how he missed from about 2 yards out, I'll never know. But what I will say on that is I think Coventry deserved to go through. I think they're the better team throughout. I like the fact that basically, VAR tried its very, very best to find a fault in Ellis Sims's first goal when it clearly comes off the chest, not onto his arm, and then Wolves just hit into a gear almost. It was like Ryan Nuri, who I'm a big fan of. I think he's a fabulous player. Obviously got the equaliser, and then Hugo Bueno, which, two of the unlikeliest goal scorers. You thought then that obviously Wolves would go on and win, but obviously not. Obviously Ellis Sims got the second, and then you've got to say it's a wonderful finish from Hadji, right, for the winner. I think Coventry played really, really well, and like he said, you didn't really know what the Premier League side was and what the Championship side was, but we've been known to this for a number of weeks and a number of years for Coventry, because I said it last season. I think they were very unlucky not to get up last season, because of what obviously Luton Town, came up, and I think Luton Town did deserve it in the end, but Coventry had a really, really good run, and I think as well, Coventry are near thereabouts now to the playoffs. If they have a playoff run, I think you could probably see them go up. Mark Robbins has done an absolutely magnificent job, and you can only wish Coventry City well. Unless you're a Leicester City supporter or a Birmingham City supporter, that's for another day. But Coventry thoroughly deserve that win.
Completely agree with that. What an absolute all-time classic that was.
I agree.
In the quarterfinal. But moving on to a slightly funnier one, and another team that just completely capitulated after starting well for the first 70 minutes. Chelsea 4, Leicester City 2. This was a game that had a little Leicester. They took their chances. The Desai getting his own goal, Mavididi scoring in the 62nd minute, but Chelsea battling back well, getting an early advantage on it. Raheem Sterling becoming a complete meme with that absolute abomination of a free kick. And aside from that, slightly disappointed with Leicester in the end with the way that they threw it away, where they couldn't really take it to that extra time. But in the end, fair play to Chelsea for pushing through and into yet another.
Yeah, I think when I didn't watch this game live, I watched it on Match of Day 2, and that Mavididi is so good to watch. I really do rate him. I think he's a very special player.
Yeah.
In terms of Chelsea, though, like they did start fair well, and they certainly made the opportunities count. I mean, Palmer is getting a whole lot better and better. He's certainly come a long way since he's left Man City. Obviously, he's got the more game time. It's certainly effective.
Yeah.
Raheem Sterling is a meme for that haircut alone. But there is a point regarding Raheem Sterling I'm going to bring up very shortly. But I just want to take a whole lot of the game. I thought Maresca set up. I'm hoping I got the name right. I think he set up Leicester City very well. In terms of the system, it certainly suits them. I think moving Ndidi away from a holding role into a left-sided, more box-to-box role helps him, because Ndidi used to be a good defensive midfielder. Keyword used. He's finished. Box-to-box wise, he's completely fine. He's more reinvented himself in that way, and I think it certainly helps. They look so relaxed. Chowdhury, Dewsbury Hall, etc. They're all good players as well. Defense was relatively solid.
Mm-hmm.
Two things I found was weird. One, the VAR situation regarding the penalty that was changed to a free kick, but then obviously the yellow was changed to a red. That was correct before Leicester fans have a go at us. Before Leicester fans have a go, and I know a lot of Leicester fans are pals of ours on this channel, it was definitely a red, so no crying. However, in terms of that, I thought I was a little bit lucky that nothing was given anyway, in terms of the circumstance. Like, if anything, I would have just gave them nothing, because just the way it was defended, but it was definitely a free kick. Wasn't in the box before anyone says it was a penalty. No, it wasn't. It was just outside. It was a red. And secondly, what I was going to say is, I found it quite weird how a couple of weeks ago, I believe, another Chelsea situation where the on-field captain stopped, I think it was Sterling, from taking the penalty, I think it was, and somebody else took it. This time they completely let him take it, and fuck me, Raheem Sterling can't hit a penalty. That was awful. That is one of the worst penalties I've ever seen, and I've seen penalties taken by United players that are shite. That was awful. Like, just ridiculously bad. His free kick was... Here, everybody loved Roberto Carlos growing up, but clearly Sterling never watched Carlos. He clearly watched Johnny Russell. And he clearly...
I think that's a bit of an insult. Basically putting Roberto Carlos and Raheem Sterling in the same sentence. That is an insult to Roberto Carlos.
Don't worry, everyone knows I'm not comparing the two. But when you look at it, he wanted to be like Roberto Carlos, but he went and done a Johnny Russell in the MLS, and he done a Finn Russell, like, for fucking Scotland and the rugby teams. Julio, get your shades off. You look like a clown. Honestly, he looks like a man beast. Get those specs off.
Hey.
Nah, to be fair, if you want to wear them, wear them. But in circumstance, though, like, I will say this in general, like, I've said it for a while that I thought Sterling was a good player. Yeah, I'm just going to stop praising Raheem Sterling from now on. Like, Raheem Sterling is now dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just dead to me. So I'll leave him at that. As for... who was I going to say that I found was really impressive? Noni Madueke.
Yeah.
Very good when he came off the bench. He was... How he's not in the England squad, I don't know. Like Marcus Edwards, he's another one where I don't think will ever get the opportunity he deserves. Anthony Gordon,
which is a shame, because at the end of the day, what Marcus Edwards is doing for Sporting Lisbon, personally for me, if he was in the Premier League or one of the top 4 leagues, I think he'd be walking in that England squad. But at the end of the day, it's the top 4 league bias and bias from coming from Southgate.
But then again, though, Tomori plays for a top 5 world ranked league, and he doesn't even get an England squad, so it makes no difference. But Marcus Edwards for me is the best English winger outside the Premier League. Like, he is just that good a player. I've said that for a long time. Doug will back me up. I've always said that about Marcus Edwards. He's the best English winger. I nearly said talent, but that's Jude Bellingham. The best English winger outside the top 5 leagues and outside the Premier League. He's just surreal to watch. He was good when he came off the bench. Noni Madueke, he was very good. Nicholas Jackson, he's still finding his feet, I think. He was brilliant yesterday. His pressing was unreal. He can press for days, that boy. All the praise in the world. Mudryk, I was surprised he came off by Pochettino. I admit that change really surprised me. Yet, obviously, it was quite funny on Match of Day 2 when they highlighted the fact that Chelsea fans were celebrating when Sterling came off. They should have kept him on then, just for the banter. But Chelsea, they threw it away. I do not know what Disasi was doing, but in the circumstance, I don't overly blame Disasi. I blame Robert Sanchez. I don't know what he was doing, but hey-ho. But apart from that, good game. This definitely the right winner went through, but Chelsea were lucky that didn't go to extra time. They were very lucky that they got the 2 late goal.
100%. The last minute resurgence really saved them from there. Before we get on to the main event for this section of the show, I'm just going to get on to the other quarter-final game. That being Manchester City 2, Newcastle 0. Bernardo Silva getting both of those early goals. Newcastle not showing up at the races at all. 1 shot on target, 27% possession. Man City, they just completely dispatched them, guys, didn't they?
I don't have much to say.
Terrible.
I don't have much to say in this game, but I'll let the boys talk about it. All I'm going to say is when I spoke to Doug during the meet-up this game, I said Newcastle would get absolutely hammered by Man City. Those were my exact words, so I'll let you boys carry on.
I'll be honest. I think I said 2-0 in Super 6. Nothing changed my mind about that. I know City got 2 deflected goals, but I don't know what's happened to Newcastle. I really do not know what's happened to Newcastle. I genuinely think that Eddie Howe could be out of a job by the end of the season. I think the Newcastle hierarchy will obviously be looking at this season, and I think they'll be wanting more than a top half finish. I think they'll be definitely wanting a European spot somewhere like that. Just to go back to obviously the Chelsea game, because there's not really been anything. I don't think there was anything really memorable in the City Newcastle game. Why Chelsea bought Robert Sanchez when he was 3rd choice at Brighton needs to be questioned.
100%.
The Sassy with one of the own goals of the season. What was he doing? And I've actually got to say, I actually think Nicholas Jackson tripped himself. I didn't think that merited a penalty. Obviously, it was a free kick as well, but obviously, Dogso did come into that denial of a goal scoring opportunity, which I think in the end it probably was. And Callum Doyle was very, very unlucky. I think Leicester were unlucky as well. To get back to 2-2 was very, very good. But again, it kind of just shows where Chelsea are at this moment in time. They're very inconsistent. You just don't know what you're going to get with Chelsea. I agree as well. I don't think Mudryk should have came off. Obviously, I think at that point, the Chelsea fans were saying to Pochettino, you don't know what you're doing, which I think is very, very harsh. But I think once that happens, I don't think there's any going back.
I just wanted to cut you there, Doug. I just wanted to ask you. Didn't mean to cut you there. Sorry. I just wanted to ask you. Do you think that Mudryk has finally found his footing in the Premier League? I think there's certain signs that are sort of showing that he has sort of come into his. He's coming to get to know his feet in the Premier League. I just don't think they know his best position. I don't know if they know his best position. And actually, when you look at the Chelsea side of the weekend, undoubtedly Petrovic is the number 1 goalkeeper now. Undoubtedly, Petrovic has been absolutely outstanding since he came into the Chelsea side, and obviously my least knowledge for MLS football kind of shows that I didn't really know who Petrovic was, but
look, fantastic goalkeeper. And he's come up trumps. He's come up trumps as well this season as well. So I think Robert Sanchez, he's definitely a number 2 goalkeeper. There's no denying that. But in the end, Chelsea got through in the end. But it's them against City. That'll be an interesting tie. That'll be a very interesting tie. I'm guessing that they'll be very, very happy at the fact that they're not having to face Liverpool again in a final or a semi-final. So look, it's a good win for Chelsea, but I think in the end, I think they'll be a little bit relieved that they're through, because again, 2-0 is a very dangerous scoreline, as we know.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Well says. Julio, do you have anything to add before we get to the absolute magic? By the way, 21 of you guys in here right now. Absolutely insane. You know what to do, guys. Chuck us a follow, chuck us a like on Spotify, chuck us a subscribe on YT as well. Do what you can to support the podcast. That'd be amazing. But yeah, take it away.
I've got nothing else to add to any of that.
Short but sweet, but we absolutely love it. But moving on to the main event. Manchester United 4, Liverpool 3. I'm so sorry to rub it in, Doug, but what an absolutely amazing game of football. By far, this is going to be the game of the tournament so far, unless some magic happens in the semis or the final. Reece, you were at Old Trafford at the weekend. Talk us through it, mate.
Start to finish, honestly, the atmosphere was incredible. Even literally just walking to the stadium, the atmosphere was incredible. The fans were out in numbers. There is one particular moment of the game that lets a particular portion of the Liverpool fans down, which I've already made Doug aware of, which is an absolute shame. But apart from that, the Liverpool fans generally, apart from that one moment yesterday, were actually brilliant in the away end. I'll generally give them that bit of credit. They were very loud. In terms of the game, though, that 120 minutes of surreal action left, right and centre. I mean, Liverpool yesterday, that's the worst I've seen them play in I can't remember how long. None of them gave a shit. When you look at that game yesterday, I think only maybe 3 or 4 Liverpool players actually felt like this is actually a game that matters. Some of them didn't. And I'm going to tell you who I genuinely thought was the biggest culprit for Liverpool yesterday. Mo Salah. Mo Salah was the worst player on the pitch yesterday for me. And I think Mo Salah is an incredible player. I hate the fact he plays for Liverpool, but he is an incredible player. Yesterday, he was the worst player in that Liverpool team. And I'm not even joking. He was fucking awful, which is good for us. But in circumstance, apart from the goal, he did nothing. Apart from that goal that he scored, he actually did nothing. His pressing was non-existent. His passing was woeful. Yep. His positioning was really poor. He got mugged off by Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka, which says a lot. And even more so is he got taken off by Klopp. I think when Klopp takes off Liverpool's best player, that's when you know they are generally being bad in attack. Yes, they scored 3 goals. There was a moment where theoretically Liverpool should have won the game.
Yeah.
Actually, there's 2 moments where Liverpool should have won the game yesterday. But when you look at it from that perspective, and this isn't just me being a United fan, I'm being completely biased to my team that we won. I'm genuinely being honest here. And even the commentator, if you watch the commentary, if you watch Match of the Day 2 as well, I thought Theo Walcott especially was bang on when he said Liverpool didn't give a fuck yesterday. Mm-hmm. Roy Keane said that Liverpool didn't give a fuck yesterday, without the language, obviously. But normally when you watch Liverpool, 5 things generally happen in a game. Goals, hard work, pressing, energy, commitment. All I saw yesterday was energy and goals. Apart from that, there was very little commitment, unless you're Kelleher. He was outstanding in goal, despite conceding 4 goals. I genuinely thought his positioning was excellent. I thought, even though he's an absolute nightmare to look at, but he's a genuinely massive unit. Van Dijk was committed yesterday for Liverpool. I thought McAllister was actually decent. Obviously he got a deflected goal, but his work in midfield, the amount of space he had in the 31st minute, fuck off. That is a fucking disgrace. The amount of space he had. you could fit all of China in that space. That's how much space he had. But it was just the fact that United actually wanted it more. United were hungry.
Yeah.
Every time that United had the ball, it looked like United were going to score. Garnacho didn't stop running for 120 minutes. He was fucking unbelievable yesterday. Onana was giving me heart attacks. I'm surprised he didn't die inside the stadium with his short passing. I thought our defence was rock solid. Dallo was fundamentally good at right back. For me personally, it was between him and Garnacho for man of the match yesterday, apart from Kobe Mainoo. I thought he was excellent. Jamie Phillips, you're a good guy, but hold that comment now. Kobe Mainoo's a good player, just hold that, buddy. But in terms of circumstance, you could clearly see yesterday, in terms of who's a better team, Liverpool at the moment are a better coach team than Man United. I'm not going to lie at that. But yesterday, United completely swamped Liverpool in every major metric. The only thing that didn't change was the space. That could have cost United yesterday, especially when Anthony got dispossessed a few times. Liverpool had to break on it as well. Diaz had umpteen amount of space yesterday. If it hadn't been for Dallo and Garnacho tracking him really well, Diaz could have had maybe 2 or 3 goals yesterday. Darwin Núñez could have had a second goal in the second half. I think it was just off the left-hand side of the... Well, it would have been Onana's right, but it'd be the left, like from the left wing. Núñez had a very good effort. Apart from that, it was more or less just how can Liverpool contain it. They were genuinely really good, but all in all, United just worked harder. They were more focused. They were more in it. And I have to say as well, like, there's one moment yesterday that I'm going to praise a lot. It's not Diallo's counter-attack. It was the absolute pinnacle 60-yard track. Dispossessed a Liverpool player. Clean tackle. Brilliant tackle from a winger. Takes it and off he goes. And I'm like, why is Ten Hag not playing this kid? Why not? Absolutely brilliant. I've said so much. Fans were incredible. I loved the game yesterday. We won. But Liverpool gave us a good game yesterday, and I was genuinely glad that for once these United players actually, instead of losing their heads when Liverpool scored, they kept going.
Yeah.
For once, it felt good to actually see United players work hard. And Anthony played really well left back yesterday and left centre back. When he was in defence yesterday, it worked really well. So fair play to him. And I'm going to say as well, Harry Maguire again yesterday, that bastard has made me do it again. He played well. But still, good game. I enjoyed it. Perfect.
I bet you're still in disbelief of you saying that, aren't you, Reece?
Yeah, I hate the fact I said that. But the fact that it was my first game at Old Trafford, that I've never had a chance to go. It's my first game. The fact that I got to go, I was sitting in the Sir Bobby Charlton stand, literally looking in the perfect view of the game. It was surreal. And there was the fact that I was amongst the fans. They were outstanding. The only thing that's going to let the Liverpool fans down yesterday, and this is what I don't understand about the allocation of certain portions of fans, is, you know, in a big game, away fans, home fans, there's going to be some sort of atmosphere where one moment can trigger. Yesterday, when Liverpool got the equaliser for 1-1, immediately a flare was thrown in the Man United fan disabled section. I don't think anyone got hurt, but apart from that, that really did let the Liverpool fans down. However, apart from that, they were wild. In a great way. They were wild. I love seeing it when fans back and forth are just going at each other.
Yeah.
And it was great in terms of that's what a proper derby is all about.
100%.
Fans just don't give a shit. They love their clubs. They get stuck in. They embed the atmosphere. That's what real football is about. So tell that to Real Madrid and tell that to Barcelona fans, because El Clasico games are fucking shite at the moment. So just tell that to them. And I can't wait for fans to be back in properly for the Old Firm games, because then you'll see a real atmosphere back up here for a change. But nah, yesterday, I don't know what you guys were enjoying on TV, but I fucking enjoyed an out of the world experience. It was incredible.
Yeah, I think I just went out into absolute raptors when Diallo went on the counter attack. scores the winner and then gets sent off. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna score a winner and get sent off, that is the way to do it, lads. Isn't it? Oh my god, the absolute scenes. But yeah, Julio, you go for it, man.
I want to ask Doug and Julio one thing, because there was one thing that really pissed me off yesterday was some of the refereeing decisions yesterday. I thought were a little bit favourable. I don't know what this referee was on, but yesterday some of those decisions, there was a few nasty fouls from Liverpool in particular that didn't get booked, and you saw one tug from Diallo and it's a booking. And I'm not trying to sound like, I want to get these players sent off. I'm very fair when it comes to referees on this channel. I hate them. So I'm like, there was a lot of, I felt at times a few bit biased decisions there yesterday, but apart from that, in some moments, I thought VAR was actually good yesterday, but I just felt at times the referee was a little bit odd. I don't know what you guys thought, but there were some decisions yesterday that seemed a wee bit weird to me.
Yeah, 100%. Doug, I mean, losing a derby in that way, I've had it many a time before with Cardiff City, especially over the last couple of years. It's a tough one to take, isn't it? Especially with the way that I think Liverpool played in some sections. But what's your general thoughts of it, especially in Klopp's last season as well? This is obviously another trophy that's gone out of the window. How do you guys push forward and look at this aspect of it now?
Firstly, I want to say congratulations, Manchester United. I've seen a lot of people criticise the celebrations at the end. Look, if you score a last-minute winner against your your biggest rivals, then I don't know why the celebration police are out forcing that. I don't know why people are saying you can't celebrate anymore. And I didn't think we played well at all yesterday. I think Reece was absolutely spot on. I think that's the worst we've played this season. I don't think it helped the fact that he played a very, very strong side against Sparta Prague the other night. Salah got 90 minutes. I think that was just completely wrong. I think he should have at least got 45 minutes. I think that was why he was kind of tired yesterday. And I think that's why he had a really, really poor performance as well. Look, I think yesterday he got the team a little bit wrong. I think the only players I think can go away from that game with probably past marks. Kelleher, I thought, was outstanding in goal. I've seen people criticising for the fourth. I don't think he could do anything for that. I thought Kwanzaa in the first Liverpool Manchester United game, I thought he was excellent. He really stepped up as well, especially for that the first goal, where Man United gave him so much space to run into, and obviously it was a very, very good finish from obviously McAllister. But the more the game went on, I think that second half was very surprising from a Manchester United point of view, because I didn't think United were that great in the second half yesterday.
Agreed.
And the more the game went on, I had a feeling that look, as soon as the 5v2 chance happens, I'm sitting there and you've got to make the right pass, But Dalot managed to obviously get back, and I've seen a lot of people criticise Cody Gakpo for that. I don't think Cody Gakpo did his best game yesterday, I'll be honest.
Agreed.
But I'm taking nothing away from the game yesterday. That is what a derby is like. Manchester City fans can say, Liverpool City is the biggest game in English football. No, not in a cat head hell's chance. If anyone saw that game, if anyone saw that Manchester United Liverpool game yesterday, that is still the biggest game in English football. And that was an absolute classic between two of the greatest English clubs the world's ever seen. I think as well, Rashford's miss at the end, to not take it into extra time. Honestly, he is very lucky he was offside. he is very, very lucky that he was offside because I think he would have got pelters had United not won that. So obviously when we go into extra time, I was getting so pissed off with the fact that we didn't test Onana very, very much. I think there was maybe one attempt in the second half where I think Elliot had a shot. He basically sees Onana basically move slightly towards his post and basically hits it. Onana actually goes off the post and then Onana has to obviously tip it aside. But we hardly tested Onana. And that was the main real annoying thing. When we know how dodgy Onana has been as well, when we know how poor he has been, we almost look like we were trying to walk the ball into the net. Just have a shot. See what happens. See if Onana makes it. What happens? Extra time. Harvey Elliott has a shot. Takes a massive deflection off Christian Eriksen. Goes into the back of the net. Mm-hmm. You don't buy a ticket. You don't win the raffle. You know, it's been said for a number of years, and that is a well-known saying. But the more the game went on, I always had a feeling you would come back. And Darwin Núñez, I'm sorry to say it, but he needs to learn about that mistake, because that mistake to give I think it was Bruno Fernandes, wasn't it? Bruno Fernandes, to Scott McTominay, and then obviously Rashford scores. He obviously made up for his miss as well. And then the one thing that really annoyed me for the winning goal, Harvey Elliott should just tackle Ahmed or Garnacho, just take them out, take a yellow card.
Conor Bradley was very guilty of that.
Yeah, the fact that we had a 2-on-1 with Conor Bradley against Garnacho and Amad Diallo was really, really strange. And by the way, the decision to send off Amad Diallo for basically taking his shirt off, look, that's a ridiculous rule. Yes, I know rules are rules, and I know people will say, "Oh, rules are rules."
Right at the end of the game as well, I'm like, why would you punish a kid like that?
It's a last-minute winner. Are we wanting players to not celebrate anymore? Are we wanting players to not celebrate? Look, that was a ridiculous decision. I do actually have to say though, I do think Bruno Fernandes was extremely lucky to still be on the pitch for that Szoboszlai challenge, because I thought that was a second yellow.
There was some yesterday, both sides, decisions-wise, that were very, very iffy.
The McAllister one and Maguire, I think he's very, very lucky. I don't know how that was given as a Liverpool free kick, but
no idea. I genuinely don't know.
I disappointed that we're out? Yes, I am. I'm gutted that we're out, and it does hurt. But we did not deserve to go through, and that is the simple matter. We did not deserve to go through. I think Manchester United were the better team throughout. Probably the 90 minutes, probably throughout the extra time. So fair play, and obviously you've got a nice wee reunion with your old striker Mark Robbins in the next round. For us, we've just got to brush down, look ahead to Brighton on the 31st of March, and then just basically go on from there. And obviously Atalanta in the Europa League, which is not going to be an easy game. But I think the international break has definitely come at the right time for Liverpool.
Before we get to Julio's point, I just want to ask you, mate, one question. What did you make of that moment in the 31st minute when there was literally all that space between that one Liverpool player and like 5 or 6 United players?
Incredible. I don't know why you gave us space, because we've seen. I think that was for the disallowed goal, wasn't it? When McAllister's running through, plays it to Salah and plays it to Endo for the disallowed goal. Again, that was marginal as well. But I've got to say that Kobbie Mainoo, I've been waxing lyrical about this player. I thought he was the best player on the pitch at Anfield. I thought he was really good yesterday as well. He was very big. That cutback when he went past, I think it was Gomez and I can't remember the other one was Kwanzaa, I think it was. Fantastic. I'm amazed he's not in the England squad, but I think this is the thing. United can't afford to overplay him, because he will get injured. I think what's happened to Rashford, he's been overplayed. Don't do it to Kobe Mainoo. Give him a break. I think this is what's happened with us as well, with Connor Bradley.
Yeah.
I understood why Connor Bradley didn't start yesterday, because he's been overplayed. I think the lack of rotation between Trent and Bradley has been kind of showing a little bit. Then I think Joe Gomez had his best game yesterday. I think he was a little bit leggy, but I think a lot of players were definitely leggy. But I've no complaints. Man United were the better team, and we'll see what will happen throughout the rest of the season. But I am looking forward to the game in 3 weeks' time, because hopefully we'll put those things right.
It's my mum's birthday, so I hope we win on that one as well. Before we get to you, Julio, because I've got one last thing I want to ask Doug. For me, in terms of my opinion yesterday, your best players yesterday, in my opinion, were Kelleher, Van Dijk, McAllister, and
I'd probably say Kwanzaa.
As well, and I'd probably say I thought Nunes was all right, but I thought Diaz was slightly better. So they're probably the best players I would have said. I thought Endo was actually quite decent as well. I just wanted to say that as well. Julio, what's your obviously you're not in the same, but you're watching from home. Watching that game for 120 minutes, there's a lot of jaw dropping in that. There's a lot of like, Christ, give me my heart back. But your feelings on the game yesterday, and just go for it.
I have a bit of a confession to make.
If you say you did not watch this game, you're getting kicked out the stream.
Hang on. It's the reason why I couldn't go with you. I was offered a ticket to go with Reece, but unfortunately, the notice I got, I couldn't get the day off work because I had an important company-wide meeting at work yesterday, so I couldn't go. And I watched the first 40 minutes, then it cut off for about 20 minutes because of work. Then it cut back in, cut back out, cut back in, and then I cut in when there were goals, pretty much. So I just logged back. I literally cut back in, and United were on that attack before Anthony scored with his right foot, and then it cut back in just as Elliott shot and scored, but then pretty much from just before Rashford scored to the end of the game, I watched all of that. But I had all the score updates on my phone. My mum gave me a good rundown of how my dad was, which was very much one moment, I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win. Two, these lot ain't got it. They're shit. Well, a lot of them, they're bottle jobs. A lot of them. Rashford gone in the... You know, just in the moment, just any reactionary comment possible. Just, oh, God. I mean, just even not watching it, just experiencing it all, just, oh, it's crazy. Just... I mean, I won't say too much because the way you guys have spoken about it is spot on, and I agree. I think I will take nothing away from the players for actually stepping up, getting back into the game, and coming away with a win. I'm really, really happy with that, especially with the kitchen sink formation at the end. You know, and a back three pretty much of Anthony, Bruno, and Dallo with Maguire playing some high.
We played back four. It was confirmed. We ended the game with a back four. I thought it was a back
because
three,
I saw some runs in behind by Maguire. Some like
he was
sweeper striker. Honestly, just some hybrid roles. It was crazy, but I think we were helped a little bit that Liverpool weren't good enough. Even when Liverpool went 3-2 up, it wasn't the Liverpool we've seen this season, who don't play well but see out wins. And I worry for Liverpool in this title run-in, Europa League run-in.
I don't.
Where a lot of the season, it seems like they've been playing off the fumes and the vibes a little bit. Those are the two words I can think of in my head. I don't know what other word I would use. But I worry going into it if this defeat will have an impact. I think it will like spur them on at the game at Old Trafford in 3 weeks, and I think we could still get beat in that game. Obviously, I would love United to win, but I just think off the back of yesterday's performance, I don't think Liverpool will do that again at Old Trafford. I agree with Doug's point about the lineup going strong against Praga, especially with how the first leg panned out.
Yep.
I just think all round it was a very good game of football to watch. Put it this way, I was half of the game, like literally the last like 15 minutes of the game, second half of extra time, I was sat watching it on a park bench with my lady straight after work. So I was on the edge of a park bench just watching it all and just like screaming in a park, watching the game on my phone. So honestly, I'd prefer to have watched it on my nice 50-inch TV at home in my living room or the 43-inch in my room. But watching on my phone was enough. Rashford's miss, I will say that if there's anyone in the team I want it to go to, it's Rashford. Because 101, I think Rashford's one of the better players.
It was right in front of me. That's the worst thing. It was right in front of me.
I can't imagine how Scottish he must have sounded in your rants after he missed that chance.
I called him a fucking bastard, put it that way. The bastard made me jump. Like, he made me fucking jump. That says all. Like, yes, he's gonna
I did
score.
wonder what that head bobbing up and down in the crowd was. It must have been you.
Yeah, I'm more shocked at the fact is my first game at Old Trafford, and the first person who scores a goal for me was Scott like fucking Tomini.
Oh, that was the first thing that came to my mind when I saw the goal in. I couldn't help but laugh.
Oh, I was laughing my head off as
extra
well. I was like,
time.
oh, this is going to be fun on
Twins to
Monday.
it.
I burst out laughing. I was like, "Fuck's sake!" I even posted on Facebook. I was like, "Of all people to fucking score, Scott McTominay."
Listen, take nothing away, especially that last bit with Garnacho and Amad Diallo. I think really signified, because I've been calling for Amad to get a proper chance for like weeks, maybe borderline months now. Not because I think he's the answer, but more or less that he's a good quality player. I just think he's one of those that, because he didn't really get a good run of games at Rangers either. And the best we've seen of him has been when he's played consistently at Sunderland. So I think he's one of those players that needs to properly marinate in the team for a few games before you see the best of him. You're not going to get that from 10-minute cameos every 2-3 games. Obviously, he's banned surely. But he has to get a good run. I mean, obviously he's banned, but he has to get a good run of games now. I think he should start a few games. Generally, not because he scored, but I think we know what he's capable of, and he did it in a division that's very difficult to do it in. I think, especially for players who lack physicality like him. You can see he's got a bit of timber on him now compared to when he first came onto the scene scoring against Milan. But honestly, what a game of football. Those are what derbies should be about. Like the best of City and Liverpool we've seen. I'm not saying they're good, but where it's been end-to-end stuff. And that's what it was like. We had that a couple of years ago when Liverpool were 2 games away from the quadruple, for example. And City won the league on the final day. Liverpool lost the Champions League final. The 2 City-Liverpool games that season, 2 all draws, missed. Both teams had fine margins. They could have won it, but it was end-to-end stuff. That was what we need. And Reece, we've said it before on this. I've said it on Talk of the League. Sometimes with United in the past few years, it's like they don't turn up for these games as one-off games. They go into them hoping they're in good form. That yesterday was the epitome of it's a derby, it's a one-off game. Forget form going into this. We're going to turn up on the day. And it was so refreshing to see.
Yeah.
And obviously, I actually think Liverpool bottled it a little bit. I think they should have done better yesterday, but they didn't.
I don't know. I don't think they did.
I disagree. I think when we scored,
they were favourites. I say that from the perspective they were favourites. That's it.
They did waste up. To be fair, they were in the lead for about 40 odd minutes. They did waste a massive lead in the second half, but I don't think they really did bottle it. And the reason why I don't think they bottled it is because when you look at the second half specifically, for me, the whole game changed when Ten Hag brought on Christian Eriksen. I think when Ten Hag brought on Christian Eriksen, Liverpool lost every meaning of the word control in the midfield. A lot of Man United fans want Christian Eriksen gone. Fair enough. If you're going to get him gone, you replace him with a younger version of Christian Eriksen, or someone exactly the same, someone who can dictate and control the game. Because he was outstanding yesterday in terms of dictating and controlling it from the centre of the park. Liverpool didn't know what to do with him.
I think our subs yesterday, when you bring off Salah, when you bring off Szoboszlai, I think we lost a little bit of momentum. Yeah, I didn't agree with those two subs. No, right. Well, not Salah maybe, because I did think he did look a bit like it. I did want to just say one thing that really annoyed me, and you can quite clearly hear it on the TV. More tragedy chanting. We have to get this stamped out. Yeah. We have to get this stamped out. Look, I know there's a minority of idiots that will try and ruin it. I mean, there's obviously been apart from that. Yeah, there's obviously been one or two idiots that I've seen on social media. There's a Manchester United fan who's I think being racist to Endo. I think it's racism. He's obviously doing the Hillsborough push as well. There's even a Liverpool fan that was doing the eunuch disaster. Look, I don't care. I don't care if I get in trouble for this comment, but if you tragedy chant, you're a scumbag. You're an absolute scumbag. Yeah. Just honestly, if the FA really, really want this to take this seriously, they take action. They take action. I think their statement yesterday after the game was nothing short of embarrassing.
Obviously, I was hearing it left, right, and centre. I go to football to enjoy football. I hate this chance. When I go to Rangers games, like with Celtic, for example, I've been to a few Old Firm games. I don't even get involved in the sectarian shit. I hate all that shit.
John, the worst thing as well, and I know I'm bringing my Derby into this again, there was sectarian comments at the Cardiff Swansea game again, which is I mean, that game is just getting ridiculous with some of the stuff that's being said.
I'm all for some of the chants. There was a few chants that Man United fans done yesterday that was brilliant. Like, for example, like telling Liverpool fans that your support is shite. Again, that's completely fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's banter. That's banter.
The thing that people have got to remember, though, as well, is, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm all about the principle that if you can't give it, then don't give it back. But at the end of the day, there's a limit and there's a line. And in quite a few of these games now, especially coming out since after lockdown, we've seen so many people cross that line.
Lockdown,
and I think since lockdown, everyone's just lost their minds.
People are losing more control now that they've gone out of they've come out of lockdown. Genuinely, it's like because being inside was so like bad for them. They've come out and they just lost control. I think at the end of the day, like tragedy chanting
too long.
It's bad. It ruins it because everything about yesterday was perfect. Obviously, United won, so of course I'm going to say it's perfect. But take the win aside. It's a very good game of football. It was very, very atmospheric, very loud.
Yeah. Like
this whole FA Cup weekend has been an absolute success for me.
It's the magic of the FA Cup. Now I know Reece doesn't believe in it, and he needs to start some revisionism soon. Otherwise, we riot. But realistically,
I will not. I'm a man of principle. I'm a man.
You're going to die on that hill. You're going to die on that hill.
Of course, I will. Yeah, a man of principle and sticks his principles is a man worth speaking. Simple. But what I will say though, are the tragedy chants and the one flare moment, definitely wild atmosphere all across. Definitely reflected the factors of supporting their team. That's exactly what an away fan should, especially a rival fan. Like, you want them to show it because, again, and I've said this numerous times, and Doug's heard me say as well, I've openly criticised the lack of noise at Anfield, saying it's quiet after they sing that one flaming song. It goes quiet. That's the loudest I've ever heard Liverpool fans in my life. I'll say that, all due respect, that's the loudest I've heard Liverpool fans. But it was the consistency of the volume. They did not stop. I'm never going to be a fan of Liverpool. I'm never going to like Liverpool. But I will say in the circumstance, fair fucking play.
You see, noise for me is a big thing in football, especially in big games.
Yeah.
And if we go into some new stadium, United, I worry that if they don't get the noise dynamics of it correct, it could be another soulless bowl, and that is the last thing you want. A new Old Trafford, a new United Stadium, having poor noise dynamics where it just sounds empty, like sometimes Wembley can sound.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want. Like when you listen to the limbs at Old Trafford, when a last-minute goal's gone in, or a big goal in a big game, or a crazy moment, no matter what team you support, the noise is deafening, but the noise is incredible. And going into a new stadium, that's what I would worry about happening. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I think at the end of the day, it was such a good game of football. I'm probably going to rewatch the game tomorrow after work, just the whole 2 hours of it properly.
All on YouTube.
I mean, my one thing about ITV was, imagine if it was Clive Tilsley and Ali McCoy's commentating instead of Sam Matterface, or even if it was Guy Mowbray over on the BBC. I feel like the commentary would have been so much more bearable, but notwithstanding that,
who was on commentary yesterday.
Yeah,
so
Sam Matterface and Lee Dixon just send you to sleep.
They are awful.
It's disappointing, but
Lee Dixon hasn't had a personality since fucking Ray Parlour scored for Arsenal in the FA Cup final, like 20 odd years ago. And Sam Matterface, more like Sam Twatterface, he's got the personality of a wet fucking goldfish.
And he fumbled the bag with Natalie Sawyer, the idiot.
Does that trump 1989 then?
What
I won't go that far.
The winning goal yesterday.
Oh, the winning goal against are you talking about the Champions League final or the goal or the goal versus
the
Liverpool
Solskjaer
in the FA Cup
goal?
third round?
Solskjaer in 1999 against
FA Cup.
Liverpool.
Oh, that's a big one. You know what? See, concerning the fact is, back then both teams were really strong. Liverpool, obviously, they didn't win a league title in '99, but they were still competing for trophies. They were still winning everything else, bar the one that really mattered. When you look at it in that sense, yes, that goal from Solskjaer really kept us in the cup, and we went and won the treble. But it's the way that we broke on Liverpool yesterday, a team that are far more superior than us. When you have to be completely unbiased and very honest, Liverpool are superior to us right now. I love the Solskjaer goal from '99, but yeah, fuck it. Amad Diallo's goal, yeah, you know what? It actually supersedes the Fernandes one for me as well from a couple of years ago. It supersedes that.
To be fair, the other thing is, before we move on, with the size of, with how big that goal is, that could also become even bigger based on how the rest of the season pans out. I'm not saying we're going to go on a run, we're going to win the FA Cup, finish in the top 4, top 5, whatever. And all season we'd be saying, is this the game that changes our season? We've been saying it all season as United fans, or hoping.
That's the game that like yesterday. I literally said when I went into the stadium, a few people I know that I did know in circumstance, like I spoke to. I was like, if we win today, our season's still alive. If we lose today, our season's done. End of the day, our trophy is more important than fucking top 4. Trophies are the embodiment of success. If you celebrate getting top 4,
you play to win.
Go and be a fucking Fulham fan. I hate celebrating top 4. I do not celebrate top 4. It's trophies or nothing.
Yeah.
And playing good football, obviously, like United of old, like playing good football the right way, attacking football and trophies. You get nothing for coming second and beyond.
The one issue I've got with us when we finish in the Champions League is looking at it and going, this team isn't good enough to go far in the Champions League. How many times have we finished in the Champions League and got grouped? 3 times. Yeah. Solskjaer got us 3rd place. We bottled it in against Leipzig, and then we ended up going to the Europa League final, which we should have won. I've said before on the show, we should have won that, and circumstances, etc., how we should have won it. But when we got into the Europa League, it was like, okay, let's go win this. And even though you could argue we had an easy run, except from AC Milan, it was a good run into the final.
A run's only easy if you make it easy, to be fair.
Well, of course, but when you're playing against the likes of Granada, for example, it's
Yeah, I mean it's basic.
you hope they'd be favourable ties. But look, I think at the end of the day, I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy we won. You know, I've been rewatching just the basic highlights all day when I've had the opportunity. It was a very, very special game.
Yeah,
I
it
am
was.
partly upset that I couldn't be there myself. You know, just screaming into Reece's ear all 2 hours. Not they would have heard me. I would just be looking up at him like this because he's a tall bastard. But
It's very true.
yeah, it's if there was a game to bring me Reece together at a stadium, that would have been the game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, what a game! Honestly, part of me was speechless. Honestly,
It's probably the best Man United Liverpool game I've ever watched.
For me, I agree.
Like, I've seen so many great wins and performances by United, but in terms of just actual, like, going at it non-stop, it is probably the best one I've seen.
how many of these games have we
surreal.
seen with that are goal fests? United Liverpool, apart from when Liverpool have beaten us to a pulp by multiple goal margins.
Very, very rare.
They're usually
They're
narrow
mostly low
wins,
scoring, or like
like
2-1s
2-1.
and stuff.
1-0
That's what
or
makes it.
something.
That's what makes it such
Yeah.
an anomaly. That game was a rare anomaly, and that's what's so special about it.
See, I worry with the way the game is going, where everything is so specific about everything, with positioning, with everything. You know, sometimes when looking at patterns of play, there's no fluidity anymore in the attack. In some games I've watched for different teams, but yesterday seemed a lot more refreshing, and I'm worried we're coming away from that just in the game in general, and it's quite upsetting.
I think.
So it's nice to have a proper goal fest like that.
I think what matters at the end of the day is, if you want to play just a complete way of attacking football that's exciting and all that, just play like that. If United end up winning games 4-3 until the end of the season, I don't care. I'll take it as long as it's bloody exciting.
Yeah.
Like, we certainly need to, obviously, 4-3 every game ain't great. I mean, our goal difference is shit. But in general circumstance, like, I just want to see pure, dominant, aggressive fashion of winning games, and doing it consistently is all I ask for, because then you'll actually go and compete for trophies. That's all that matters. What's next, Nathan?
So, I think it's time for me to get some stuff off my chest.
Bro, what
Let's
happened?
just sit
What
back.
happened? You had one
Right.
job.
We
You
did
choked.
have one job. So,
You choked. What an opportunity.
before I start anything, and I know I'm going to get a lot of heat off Twitter and everything, before anyone makes any clips, before anyone does anything, before anyone starts with the swim away comments and, oh, typical Cardiff, right. We never deserved to win that game. We were completely outclassed for it, and Swansea absolutely played us off the park and turned up. And to be honest, taking it from a Cardiff City perspective and what we've seen from these derbies the last couple of years, and also the way we've been playing football recently as well, if we turned up, the Swancom, at the end of the day, everyone knows it's a very, very difficult place to play on a derby occasion. They're always up for it. It's basically their cup final, and that's absolutely how it should be. But the thing is, I would be fine if we went in and put in 100% effort. But once again, we absolutely do not do that. We turn up and we look absolutely scared out of our life. It was an absolute embarrassment there on Saturday, once again. And I have massive sympathy for Errol Bullock, because he sent his players out with his expectations, and they just completely bottled it. In fact, I'm going to go through the whole team and say my exact opinions about each of them. Horvath in goal did what he could at the end of the day. He tried his best with what he could, and at the end of the day, everything in front of him absolutely, capitulated. Perry Ng had his absolute worst performance in a Cardiff City shirt when at the end of the day, being our best player all season. Gutas and Nat Phillips. Nat Phillips has been absolutely incredible since he came in for us. Doug will know how good of a player he is. He is absolutely fantastic as a centre-back, especially at this level. Those two just couldn't do anything. They were absolutely overloaded from all levels. Swansea, as I've warned everyone many a time, Rochetta and also Ronald, so skillful and so pacey on the ball. They were just going to crucify us on the wings, and they absolutely did so. Gutas and Phillips couldn't do anything. Wilson Esbrand was absolutely woeful. He was just scared, constantly giving the ball away. And if he's player number one, if I don't see him playing in a Cardiff shirt again, I will be happy. And I don't care if that's bad me saying, that is just the mentality that we saw on the weekend. Ryan Wintle was absolutely terrible, giving the ball away a million times. Siopis, an example of a player who just tried so hard but just couldn't deliver. And because he was pretty much scared into it and tried too hard, he just put out an absolutely woeful performance. Ruben Colwell, when he came on, was absolutely fantastic as well. Moving around the pitch, David Turnbull, he's played in Old Firm derbies. I mean, it didn't look like it with the way he played. He was absolutely shocking, giving the ball away, did what he could. Absolutely terrible. Josh Bowler, I mean, one way to describe it, takes a first touch, out it goes for a goal kick. I'm sorry, but with the amount of poor performances that you have put in a Cardiff City shirt, I don't want to ever see you put that shirt on for the club ever again. You have been absolutely terrible ever since that you have come in from Nottingham Forest. You're going to be released in the summer. I mean, thank you for the goal at the Watford and the odd good performance, but your performances throughout this club have been absolutely shocking, and I don't ever want to see you anywhere near that shirt once again. Moving on to the other side, Colin Grant once again did what he could, and then moving on to the last line, Mate. Where do we start with that? At least he showed passion at the end of the day. Came on, was well up for it in the derby, but that cost too much because he completely lost his head. I mean, don't get me wrong with it. Harry Darling is an absolute pussy, and I'm never going to beat around the bush with that. Just constantly flopping out on the floor at every 5 minutes. I mean, I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, if you do that, right, you deserve to get a red card. This is the one opinion for me that the referee, right? The referee got the decision absolutely correct. So Harry Darling just completely takes out Yaku Mate. Yaku Mate does this. Harry Darling flops to the floor like a 10 out of 10 Dom Daly and wants him to be sent off. Fair play to the referee for getting the decision absolutely right, but I'm sorry, the amount of absolute hypocrites and double standards that I have seen on Twitter in the last couple of days saying, oh, Yaku Mate deserves to get sent off for the world's softest headbutt, yet Harry Darling can't elbow someone and it should be on the pitch, is just ridiculous. I mean, there's bias and then there's that. I mean, let me get... I know I've absolutely lost my head and I'm going to get absolutely clipped on Twitter, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're either both remaining on the pitch or they both get sent off. It is absolutely shocking. And then as for the rest of it, once again, we saw it with them before the game. Luke Williams, absolutely fantastic pre-match team talk. I mean, that's really injecting the life into the Swansea players, etc., etc. And I mean, what do? We just do probably one of our PR sort of, oh, this is another big derby, just a standard old, same old, same old, same old. And I've said it for the last 14 years that Vincent Tan's been in charge. The disconnection between the fans and the club was once again completely exposed in this fixture. And honestly, everyone knows the story. I've been saying it for the last 14 years. There is only one way that this is going to change and the mentality is going to change. I've lost my head, but to put it into perspective, we're still a bigger club. I mean, as everyone has seen on Twitter, some of the takes that I've seen in the last couple of days have been absolutely shocking. We've won 3 out of 4 derbies this season, which cannot be sniffed at. I mean, that is a very good one, but very, very good record from us. But at the end of the day, because it's the most recent one, everyone takes it out of perspective. But what a marked improvement. 3 wins out of 4, double against Bristol City. 2-0 win at the start of the season against Swansea. Fair play. That's very decent, but I'm absolutely fuming just with the absolute shambles of a performance. And to be honest, I can go on until tomorrow morning about how absolutely terrible we were on Saturday and how things ultimately need to change. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that theatre. I'm going to get clipped on Twitter for that because I've just completely lost my head. But there you go. That's my South Wales Derby review.
So all in all, you're shit.
Yes.
All I want to say is, all I'm gonna say is, you've got money to spend. You've got money to spend. You have got fucking money to spend.
Question is though, will Vincent Tan spend it? No.
You fucking done it
Tans
in
of the-
January when I said you would.
We did.
Tans at the wheel.
somehow.
Man. Tans at the wheel, man. He's doing it. He's doing his thing. Cardiff City are back. 17th
Just
at Christmas,
torture.
pending.
Well,
Finished.
for any player that leaves Cardiff City this summer, make sure they drive carefully.
Oh, fuck off, Doug.
Doug, that is incredible. That is absolutely incredible.
And if you're going to go by sea, there's out there.
But now my head has calmed a little bit further. I will get
Nah,
into this-
Nathan. The veil of
He
Gilmore
actually just
not looking so
overshadowed that.
great
What a
in
bastard.
Swansea now, is it?
I'm getting the image up.
See the whole we're the bigger club thing as well.
Mhm.
I think it's time that you just admit you're just a club. There's no point even saying who's the bigger club between you and Swansea fans now. There's no point. You're both shit.
We are.
That's like Motherwell fans go. That's like Motherwell fans going to anyone in Scotland and just saying you're a bigger club. You're not even a bigger
It's a
club. than
mid off.
Rovers.
It's a mid off. That's what
It is. It is a mid off.
Julio,
Like,
say
well,
your
you're
name
right.
again.
No,
I've got to do a
you're right.
reactment. Go
That's
for
your
it.
next owner. That's your next owner, mate. Just
I
don't
mean,
go
he
bust.
doesn't even know where the club is. It's just
That's
it's
true.
just hilarious.
That's true. That is true. I think your next owner, to be fair, is probably still going to end up being someone like, I'm not saying the name. I can't say it because I'll laugh again after what I did last time. I can't do it. Can't do
Like Ashley.
it. Yep.
To be honest, I will take him.
It'd be so funny if he ends up being your owner at some point. I swear to God, I will laugh. And then all I will say is, you guys love to abuse Rangers fans. At least you'll become the second Rangers.
No chance. No chance. I mean, just the fact of me saying, "Oh,
Can we just say it's
Oh.
probably like Nathan's worst weekend because Cardiff City have lost and also Leeds United have gone to the top of the Championship.
can it get any worse?"
Good point.
I mean,
Good point.
this club is like, what is it? One step forward, 10 million steps back. I mean, just seeing Leeds at the top of the Championship. I mean, at the end of the day, the way they've been playing, they absolutely deserve it.
How the
but-
fuck did Leicester throw that away? I'm not even joking.
17 points they were ahead of Leeds.
Hmm
I'm not even joking. Like,
Jesus.
Carl,
Yeah.
wherever you're watching, mate, you support a shit club, mate, but you're still a
He's in
decent fan.
dreamland. Absolute
How the
dreamland.
How, when you look at all season, and we've seen the Leicester fans doing, apart from maybe one or two, on their social medias all season, piping up, we're going to win the championship. We're going to do record 100+ points. We're
Mhm.
going to do it.
PSG of the Championship.
You fucking bottled it. That is awful. Oh, and it's even worse. It's the fucking Leeds. If it'd been Southampton, I'd smile. Fucking Leeds.
Ipswich are right on their tails as well.
I hope Ipswich catch them though, just for this. I hope they do. Also,
Yeah.
speaking of Southampton, shout out to Ralph Hasenhüttl. Congratulations on the Wolfsburg job. Congratulations, Ralph
Hasenhüttl's got a
Hasenhüttl.
new job.
Fantastic.
It's-
Yeah.
I swear. When did this
It
happen?
got
Yeah, today.
It got announced. It got announced during the game and on Sunday.
Yeah, it got announced during our game. So congratulations, Ralph Hasenhüttl. Just lose to Leipzig when you play them. That's all I ask.
You know what? This leaves the championship a very juicy last 8 games.
hmm
Aspects of it, yeah. Aspects.
Yeah, because
Prime
while the top
championship.
four is
Give me-
basically confirmed, we've still got a run for the playoffs from like, what is it,
No, you
6th to
don't.
10th now? Not for us, obviously. In fact, I think our pre-season starts now, and I'm happy just to play the kids and use it, see what we got. Anyone who's not good, out they go and build for next season. But
Are
yeah,
Rotherham down yet?
Probably.
I think by the first week of April they can be, but 19
Crikey.
points from and
Easter weekend.
like Sheffield Wednesday on
Rotherham are
20,
down.
like 38. That is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean,
Easter
watch what
weekend and
happens.
Nathan's birthday.
It is.
Watch what happens. Easter weekend, Rotherham get confirmed relegated somehow,
Mhm.
and then they start winning all their games. Proper Jesus resurrection story, that.
Speaking of relegation clubs,
Mhm.
or supposed to be, Luton Town.
Mm.
You're not going down, folks. Like I said,
Mhm.
you would at the start of the season. Luton Town are surviving.
They
I
are.
fucking said it. Thank you, Forest, for making my prediction come true. Everyone that said I was wrong can hold that.
Mhm.
I trusted the Spalletti gut.
I think I had
Reece absolutely did.
Forest 17th, I think. So I wasn't too far off
Or
between.
18th,
I got-
actually.
To be
I
fair,
got
that's a
fucking-
very good prediction, that does.
I got ridiculed on that stream, though. I got ridiculed, remember that, in the live chat. No, he's
Yeah,
fucking off his head.
I remember that very chat.
Yeah.
He's off his head,
Forest
no
at
fucking
18th.
way. Why is he doing this? No.
For- got so
Forest are now
relegate, though.
18th with 21 points.
I
Hmm.
genuinely think Luton Town will get a couple. I think Luton Town will get 2 or 3 wins before the end of the season. 2 or 3 wins, something like that. They'll find them because they worked really
Do you
hard.
know what I can see?
Yeah, the thing
I
that
can see walking away next week. It's like, I don't want to get up. I don't want to.
Oh,
relegation
Santos.
zone.
yeah.
There's no way that Nuno Santo will go into the championship again. You'd be like, fuck that. No chance.
I mean, at
Go
the end
back-
of the day, the only reason it worked for him going up first time that Wolf job was because of the super
Jorge
agent.
Mendes.
Yeah, Jorge
Jorge
Mendes.
Yeah. Splashing the dough, heavy and all that, getting them in. There's no way that he's sticking with Forest in this way. No chance.
No
And
No
chance.
I'll tell you
chance.
one,
And financial trouble will be pending for Forest when they go down.
I do sympathise with them a little bit. Like, I sympathise in the circumstance that we know why they had to go and get all those players, right? We said
Yeah.
this last year. So that was last year. They had to go and get, they had 17 players or something on loan from the during the championship or something like that. It was an insane amount of number. So they had to go and spend heavy to revitalise that squad. This season,
They had no reason to spend that much.
they're spending to stay in the league and they're spending to improve.
Yeah.
They went way too far. They went way too far. Worse than Burnley, and Burnley have got their comeuppance anyway. But when you look at Forest, like, this is just, there's spending, then there's lunacy, and they went way too far. They went way too far, and it's caught up with them. Some of those players they've got, some of those really talented players like Awoniyi, finally got his name right. Morgan Gibbs White. There's no way they're going back to or even playing the championship. There's no way.
They've got saleable assets.
Yeah.
They're getting plucked. Morgan Gibbs White is going to go for a big fee in the summer. I don't know where. Maybe Palace if Eze gets sold, but he is moving on. There's no way he stays.
Yeah, because the thing you got to remember is Palace are going to be on a rebuild in the summer again.
I think
Glasgow would love
Evangelos Marinakis' favourite film is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, because literally they're the Veruca Salt of the football.
I've never
I
laughed
miss
at
Doug
I've,
with all these jokes.
I've never laughed at Doug dad joke, but I swear to God, he's fucking close to making me laugh. Close. I think
We'll
one
get
or
you
two
one
more.
day,
might-
Reece.
I think 1 or 2 more will set me over the edge. I'm that close. But there's something I really want to ask, because we know this is going to change in the summer. This whole financial sustainable thing for the Premier League, it doesn't work.
No.
Like, the points deduction's there, so the sanctions work, but the whole categorization of how it works is a
Is
failure.
wrong.
Yeah.
It
It's
really
literally-
doesn't work.
It's literally an absolute farce. It's like basically putting Jeremy Clarkson into 24 as Jack Bauer. It just wouldn't work. Imagine Jeremy Clarkson as a special agent.
Oh yeah, I can picture it now, falling over his belly. But absolutely, like it really doesn't work. And I've had my issues with FFP for years regarding the treatment of AC Milan compared to say Chelsea, or whatever. But this whole financial thing for the Premier League, no wonder they're getting rid of it in the summer, and they're going to change up to something new. It's ridiculous. I believe an owner should be allowed to spend on the club. It's their freaking club. As much as the fans' right for a club to be spent, it's the owner's right to spend. But when you look at it, they make it physically impossible for you to spend in the way, because if you go for a certain amount of revenue, like if your profit don't match a certain amount of your spending, you're humped. Like, in more ways than one. We don't like Everton because we're Man United fans. Obviously, they come from Merseyside. Doug doesn't like Everton because obviously that's his club's local rival. It's important. The amount of money they've spent, I know I've said it so many times in this stream, they've spent over 800 million in
On
9
shite.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've went psychotic for spending in a near decade. It actually is a decade, in fact, because it started when Koeman got the job, and from that period of time, it's ridiculous. Value for money, awful. But if you can't justify the means of your profit, it's ridiculous. A Premier League club should have no issue with profit. With the amount of TV money, there is no excuse. So a Premier League owner should be allowed to go 1 billion on a transfer budget. Sorted. You should be allowed to, and theoretically, the only clubs that should genuinely struggle with making the ends meet of profit in terms of that is clubs that come up from the Championship, clubs that are like in France, for example, or clubs in Spain. When you look at TV deals, Italy as well, a little bit iffy, but they're actually on top of their TV deal at the minute. At least they're actually looking to improve it. But if you come up from the Championship, you've got no justifiable means for your profit. If you've been in the Premier League for decades, you shouldn't have an issue.
Yeah.
So like Everton should have no problem with their spending and their profits. There is no excuse. There is no
100%.
excuse.
Completely agree.
Julio, what's your opinion on the whole circumstance with the profit and sustainability bollocks? And do you have any other opinions compared to what we said about Forest or even like Everton for the way they spend? Or do you think sanctions should be done differently? Not saying go for the points deduction, but do you think there should be a certain criteria to get?
I agree with what you've said there with everything. I've said before on this very show that I personally think the owners should be given 3 years to do whatever the hell they want, and then when they're not getting the results for it, and then I think the criteria might work if you did it on a wider scale of 3 years down the line. You've been given, you pumped as much money as you want in the club. If you're still if you're Everton, right? Late 2019. Early 2020, they were down there a little bit. They sacked Marco Silva. They brought in Carlo Ancelotti. The amount of money they spent in that time, they still weren't getting rewards for it. That's when you think, okay, right, let's start looking at penalty points or points deductions or fines, sanctions, etc. I agree that I think they've got the right idea for punishment. The way they're executing it based on the criteria is incorrect. At the moment, it just looks very much like there's a top 6 cartel and that's it. Newcastle have the richest owners in the world, apparently, right? Why should they be a lot more methodical than when City first got the money, or Chelsea? Now, I like it when I appreciate Newcastle's business when they've been a bit more methodical, that they won't get fleeced for the likes of Botman, for example. That was a good deal. But I just disagree with the sentiment that why shouldn't they be allowed to progress financially in terms of building the team at a rate that maybe they should do with the money they've got, rather than they spent it all pretty much at once and they gone, right, okay, now you have to sell some players. Which basically stops teams outside the top 4, top 5, top 6 from breaking into that top 6. And at the end of the day, I know it's all about money, but realistically, it should be all about merit. You
Yeah.
don't
Mhm.
earn those spots based on name. I know, obviously, I'd love United to win the league every year, but let's be honest, as much as I would joke at the start of a season, we're winning the lot this year, based on the crap signings we've made over the last few years. Like, my reaction to when we signed Weghorst on Instagram was, guys, we're winning everything. We're winning the Europa League, we're winning the FA Cup, we're winning the League Cup, we're winning everything. You know I'm joking when I say it, but
I know,
realistically,
it's still painful that you done it though.
yeah, everyone, come on. If you really believe that I was
well, to
being
be fair,
serious, then I worry for people's sanity.
True. I mean, to be fair, everyone's seen my honest take when it comes to who deserves to get what when they win, the Premier League, for example. Everyone saw that. I still stand by that. If you win the Premier League, you should be entitled to every single bit of TV money and reward money. Nobody else should get anything. I still stand by that, even though it creates an absolute dominant factor. If you win it, you deserve to win it. I put in the live chat because there's 26 people watching. There's 22 watching on X. There's 4
Fantastic.
on YouTube. Who wants to see something genuinely funny?
Oh, God.
So I found from One Football, this was posted 5 hours ago, right? So this is on Facebook. The top 5 most valuable clubs in football, based on the currency is euros, and it's in billions. Have a guess who the top 5 clubs are in order, and I'll tell you how much Forbes has valued them at. So, Nathan, I'll go from you first. 1 to 5. 1 being richest, 5th being least richest. In terms of most valuable, Most valuable, number 1. 5th most valuable, 5th. No looking. Have a guess. And I'll
Okay, so hands are off the computer, and I'll put them up so you can both see them. So, number 1 is going to be Newcastle United. Number 2, Man City.
Okay.
Number 3, PSG.
All right.
Number 4, just because they're owned by Man City, I'm going to go Genoa.
Okay.
And then number 5...
You mean Girona, but yeah.
Girona, yeah. And then number 5, which way do I go with it?
Remember, this is most valuable club. Not richest, it's most valuable.
Most valuable, right. Start that again. So I'm going to go for Manchester United, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, Liverpool.
And that's your top 5, and Man United being the most valuable football club.
Real Madrid.
And Liverpool 5th. Real Madrid number 1. Who's 5th?
Need to think this out well. Let's go. Man United, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Barcelona. I don't think PSG get in there. Bayern Munich.
All right, so that's your top 5. Julio, you're not looking. You're going to answer. You're next because I'm not letting you get in a fraudulent chant. So, Julio, you're 1 to 5 most valuable clubs. Go.
Listen, I think Real Madrid and United are the top 2.
Okay.
I don't know what order they'd go in because I read
go
this. I read the 2023 list not too long ago. Actually, as part of research for something I was doing.
Just
for
take a
uni.
hunch. Just take a hunch.
I think Liverpool, Barcelona, and I think City sneak in.
So your order is Real Madrid, Man United, Liverpool, Barcelona, City.
Yeah.
Doug, what's your 5?
I'd probably say Real Madrid 1. United 2.
Yep.
I'd say that's difficult. Barcelona 3.
Yep.
And then I think it's a case of Arsenal 4th, maybe. Liverpool 5th. That's what I would go with.
The exact order is Real Madrid, Manchester United, Barcelona, Liverpool, Man City. But this is where it gets funny. Real Madrid, according to Forbes, are valued at 5.6 billion euros, right? Manchester United are valued at 5.5 billion. Barcelona are valued at 5 billion exactly. Liverpool are valued at 4.9 billion. Manchester City are valued by Forbes at 4.6 billion euros. Now tell me where the funny thing is. Because Barcelona right now are valued at a heap of shit, unless Spotify are doing it. Man United being 5.5 just behind Real Madrid is frightening, considering the fact that Real Madrid's market value right now is leaps and bounds ahead of everybody. Man City, what are they valued on? Are they valued based on Kevin De Bruyne's haircuts? And Liverpool, I mean, renovating Anfield, renovating Millwood, understandable. Man United are valued such a high because we know why Man United are valued so high. Their market and the profit and international fan base is significantly just as big as Real Madrid, if not bigger. But when you look at a grand scale, Man City in 5th, fuck off. Fuck off. Like, how? Genuinely funny. I just wanted to get a laugh in there, folks. But that is just funny, and I've even got it because they've got a picture of Florentino Perez when he wants to show his face. Come on, look at that face. Look at that face. The man's like, give me some pizza. Straight smirk and everything. I'm like, I love this guy. Mental. Mental. And also another thing, Florentino Perez, April 17th, you stay the hell away from Garnacho.
Take
Stay
Anthony.
The hell away from him.
He's the one you really want.
Or take Mason Greenwood. Preferably. Keep him away.
Or Jadon Sancho.
Or both.
Just take them all.
That'll do. Yeah. Nathan, back to you, because I believe you've got something else planned.
I do indeed. We got a big talking point. We've had a weekend of derbies, so you know what? Everyone knows how much I love a tier list. We did say we're going to push it down the line a little bit later this season, but I can't leave this out. I want to know the absolute genius and legends who made this tier list.
Old firm at the top.
Look at this. Who
Well,
puts
we
the
know where
time and
that
effort
is.
into making this?
I think it's already
Fair play.
established that since they've already got their own tier list, we may as well just put the old firm in the old firm.
That's the exact reason I did it.
I
But at the
think
end of
we
the
put-
day, there's some rubbish. There's some absolute rubbish derbies in here. So
This is
what I'm thinking-
insane.
I know this is like when I saw it on tier list, I'm like, I'm using this. This is nuts.
I
So-
think we need to make a very fair rule, if you don't mind me saying.
Go for it.
I think there's a special way that myself, Doug, and Julio, for example, can describe our particular derbies, like Man United versus Arsenal, Man United versus Man City, Man United versus Liverpool. I'm surprised they haven't made one for Man United versus Leeds. That is a fucking derby. Like, that's mental.
It is the
Unless it's there. Good, I didn't see it.
How is
I
I
think-
was gonna say, how is Cardiff beat Leeds on there?
Yeah, I think
trust me, this has history.
No,
I
but if
don't-
United versus Leeds wasn't on there, that's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the lads are going to like this, but I think this is fair. I think when it comes to us describing, like, say, Man United versus Liverpool or the Merseyside derby, I think we shouldn't be allowed to talk about it because it makes it so much easier to rank.
Yeah.
I think if we do talk about it, it's got to be so, like, concise. Like, I know I could talk for 45 minutes on the Man United versus Liverpool derby, and I could get away with it. But I think we've got to put more effort and more into the other ones to completely berate how shit they are.
I completely agree because there is some rubbish in this tier list.
There's some good ones in there,
Not to
though.
disrespect anything, there's some insane ones in here, but there is some absolute rubbish. So no disrespect to any clubs, and at the end of the day, I have respect to any derby. But some of the ones that, for example, Crew Alexandra against Macclesfield Town, we're not going to talk about much. We'll probably leave to the end, but ones like that we will. But the juicy ones, boy, are we going to get to them. So. Standard procedure with this, one a piece. I'm going to start with you, Reece. Take the show away. Oh, by the way,
Okay.
for the tiers, we've got Old Form, World War 3, Hatred is Good, Average Poor, and then Tin Pot right at the bottom.
So
yeah,
I'm
Reece,
gonna
take her away.
I'm assuming World War 3 you're in the sense of as absolute chaotic and destructive, am I right? That's
So
where
when
we're
I'm
going with this?
talking about World War 3, I'm talking about bubble trips. So I know that
It's
probably puts it in its
boiling
own
point.
category, but like
So
bubble
what-
trips are basically where you're not allowed to go to the game yourself as an away fan.
All right, then I'm going to go immediately in the sense of it. I'm going to
Yeah.
go. That's exactly what I was looking for. I'm going to say straight away Man United versus Leeds.
Yeah,
I'm just straight to the point. Man United versus Leeds is World War III. Whether it be going to Ellen Road or going to Old Trafford, you just can't. Because you will get killed. We've seen
Yeah.
what happens with Leeds fans. They don't give a fuck. The hardcore Leeds fans do not give a fuck. They would kill you if they wanted to. And to be fair,
you're right.
from like the Red Army as well and all that shit, they would too. If they can get a good go at them, they would. It's the violence in the atmosphere. I had another derby in mind, but I think I'm going to let someone else, if they've got my way of thinking about World War III, I'll let them go for it. But yeah, for me, Man United versus Leeds, straight to the point. I'm not going to delve into it, but yeah, that for me is World War III. You just can't.
Completely agree. Doug, your turn, mate.
I'm going to go with an easy one. Old Firm, Manchester United, Liverpool.
Wow.
The history of the fixture, the two biggest English clubs, 70s, Liverpool dominating the 70s and 80s, Man United dominating the 90s and the noughties and the early sort of teens as well. That game yesterday just proved how big that game is, and there's no other place than to put it in the top tier.
Spot on. I just want to add one little thing as well.
Yeah.
Even before that, the 70s, the 50s and 60s, it was just pure respect between the two biggest clubs. Busby's Man United, obviously, and then obviously Shankly's Liverpool. Like, I have so much respect for Shankly, considering he tried to help obviously United survive, and he like with Santiago Bernabeu. I've got a lot of respect for Bill Shankly in that way. It really was when Man United got promoted back from the second division, when the formation of the Red Army. That's when obviously start of hooliganism, but it didn't really kick off until the 80s. But the formation of the Red Army really did get wild with the extravagant formation of the Cop, whether it be Old Trafford or whether it be Anfield. It really you saw it went from a respectful rivalry of Manchester and Liverpool in terms of two cities. It became, fuck this, we're just gonna come at you now. Like forget this. It's going to be pure blood and warfare now. So if anything, it was that game as well in terms of English football where it really started. Apart from Don Revie's Leeds, there was no other.
Yeah.
There was nothing else out there apart from these two that you can think of. Maybe Forest at the very end of the 70s, but apart from that, there was nothing. It was vitriol between the Red Army and the Cop in the late 70s. The FA Cup final, if you ever watch it back, the FA Cup final in 77 is a great example.
Completely agree. Julio, your turn. But what a summary that was.
See, it's difficult because I thought going into this it would be based on the fixtures alone, but it looks very much like rivalry based in terms of how the fans view it.
Yeah.
Because I would have thought, especially from the 2010s, and I think Nathan, you'll back me up on this, maybe. I think I'd put Sunderland, Newcastle, the Tyne-Wear derby, borderline Old Firm.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
If I can find it.
Bottom row in the middle somewhere.
Oh, I got it.
Those, especially the 2010s. But
Yeah,
I just think the way it's
Sutherland's game has
fallen
been
off
ridiculous.
since, I think World War III makes sense.
I think
'Cause
that has
outside
a
of
lot
that-
to do with the takeover as well of Newcastle, and obviously,
Even
Sunderland
mainly
falling
Sunderland
in.
going down, because
yeah,
if Sunderland had stayed up, Newcastle would have come up and been just as average as them, but under Rafa the first two seasons. So it would have been tight-knit affairs. And Rafa was the only Newcastle manager to not lose a Tyne-Wear derby in the 2010s.
He
After
was.
2012. But yeah, it's just lost its way a little bit, obviously, with them being out of the divisions, and the gap now is a lot wider.
100%. Completely agree. I'm going to get the effort in room out the way. I am putting the South Wales derby so close into Old Firm, but I just can't compare to some of the others with how it's massively been toned down by the police. But the thing that I'll summarise it very quickly. One of the only remaining bubble trips in the UK. Both teams have absolutely despised each other for years. There's just no respect in it.
I'd
also
argue that's probably
I-
hatred then, if you're describing it as that.
I disagree
I'm
because
same.
at the end of the day, unlike, for example, Leeds, Man United, Newcastle, Sunderland, if you took the bubble restrictions away, it would just be ridiculous. Like it would be uncontrollable, and they haven't been able to risk it for 25 years. So I think for that reason, it is sort of kept a lid on because they are too scared of why.
I
Of
think
what
it's
happens
probably.
if they get rid of it.
I think it's borderline World War III and hatred. I think it's in between
Yeah.
those two. I don't think it's quite
I don't think it's the top
old
tier
firm.
level.
Yeah. Maybe put it down there for now, but yeah, that's my very brief stance on it. And I think especially with the way how poor we've been in as well, it has toned it a little bit. But
No, it's fair. It's
a brutal dart. It is brutal, and that's all I'll say about that.
Oh yeah, it is. I think it certainly is, and I think you've got a way to work with it, and it does have that. I think it just comes down to if you're describing a particular tier, we really need to make sure that we are definitely specific, and I think that is a fair example of it can really impact where you're thinking, where you're not thinking. I certainly think it has that impact. I don't think I'd like to actually hear what Julio thinks on this one, because for me, this was, besides Man United Liverpool, this was the game that I always looked to growing up, was Man United Arsenal.
I thought that's the
just
route
wanna
you'd
get-
go down. Where are you
However,
thinking of putting it?
Start dragging, I'll tell you when to stop. So I'd like to see what you think. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Stop.
I disagree with that.
It's not World War III for me. It's hatred. It's competitive hatred for me.
Yeah.
It's not like the level of the two Man United specific derbies above, like derby games, where when Wenger came over to the Premier League, it was purely, who the fuck is this guy? Like, he's taking the piss with the league with like what he's bringing in. But it was competitive hatred between United fans and Arsenal fans, because at the time, theoretically, on a consistent basis, there was no two better teams in the Premier League between 1997 and 2004. There was no two better teams, let's be real. Chelsea were a consistently decent side. Liverpool were actually okay. But when you think about who was actually fighting for the league every year, it was Man United versus Arsenal. But it was never the sense of you're afraid to go to Highbury for that, or you're afraid to go to Old Trafford. But you hated playing against them. We hated playing Arsenal. They hated playing us because we were the best teams.
It's a sort of competitive one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's competitive
On the pitch
hatred.
rivalry.
Yeah, and that's what it was. It was a battle. But it was never, oh, I'm afraid to go to Highbury because I'm going to get stabbed in the neck. No, I'm just afraid that my team's going to lose the league, because if we lost once to Arsenal, they're probably going to go and win the league. And that's what it was. Back then, if Arsenal had even beaten Man United once and then got a draw in the follow-up fixture, Arsenal would have theoretically went and won the league when you look at it. And it was vice versa for Man United. 4 points out of 6 back then, or even if you got 6 points, was huge. But it's the measurement of getting there. And that, for me, is why it's not World War III, it's not Old Firm, it's hatred. That's what I think, anyway. If you want to think maybe a little bit lower, I'm open to suggestion. But I think based on how the games were, even watching as a neutral, you can tell both sets of fans and the teams hated those games in terms of, like, you knew what was coming. You just knew it was going to be mental. The game in 03, for example, where the Van Nistelrooy penalty hurt me like fuck. That said it all for me. The aftermath reaction, it was like, you hated the miss because you knew the impact. Because if we had scored that, fuck 49 games, it would have been over after, 7? It would have been over. Like, that's where it was at.
Interesting.
I think I agree with what Reece says with the hatred thing. I think post the 2010s, you could argue it's put it this way: when it was hatred in the mid 2000s, it was hatred borderline World War III because of the competitive nature. You know, the battle of Pizzagate and all that.
Yeah.
Then when Arsenal started to fall off, even though it was always big games, it went further down, and now it's hatred borderline maybe good. It's not the same anymore.
Yeah, especially how I think in the mid to late 2010s as well, how both teams massively dropped off in the league, where it's sort of like a Europa League sort of rivalry instead of a like constantly fighting for the title, etc. But yeah, Doug, what's your thoughts?
I can't believe this is an actual derby. I'm going to go Crystal Palace Brighton.
I knew you were going to say that.
Like, how is that a derby? Is it because like Crystal Palace are called Eagles and Brighton are called Seagulls? But actually, when you actually speak to Palace supporters and Brighton supporters, there is a personal hatred between the two. They absolutely despise each other. I think as well, you have to say from like a neutral's point of view, yeah, it's kind of a newish sort of derby, but I'd have to say that I think it's probably on hatred, that derby.
Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the reason it came around was because, like, sort of Palace was just sort of isolated in South London. You had Brighton, no sort of clubs around their side from the South Coast, both sort of in the same time. So they're like, yeah, let's force a derby with each other,
Like,
which is
it's the M23 derby now. It's like
it's a mad name, isn't it?
It is a mad name, but yeah, that's a kind of a game where it is personal hatred between the two sides.
100%. Julio, what's your thoughts?
Could you show me the categories after good, please?
Yeah.
Okay. You see, what I'm about to say kind of works for two derbies because it works in the same area, but it's pretty much when it's T something, whether it's Tyne T or T Weir or whatever. The derbies with Middlesbrough don't hit the same as the Tyne Weir derby, whether it's Sunderland Middlesbrough or Newcastle Middlesbrough. It just doesn't seem like, from what I've seen. Gents, I'd like to get your input on this as well, because this might just be my lack of knowledge, which I apologise for. If there are any Newcastle, Sunderland, Middlesbrough fans listening, I do apologise. It's just it doesn't seem they're on the same level, and I'm hesitant to put them anywhere above good, maybe not even in good.
Yeah,
because I just don't seem to see the same kind of buzz as there is for Tyne Weir, but I don't know if that's...
I think if you look at it as a sort of a geographical point of view, I think Newcastle Sunderland is probably number one.
Yeah.
Then I'd probably say Middlesbrough Sunderland is probably number two, because that's obviously T's Weir. Then I'd say number three is Newcastle Middlesbrough. So I think in that order, obviously Sunderland Newcastle is obviously number one. Yeah. But I'd say Middlesbrough Sunderland is the bigger game than Newcastle Middlesbrough.
Yeah,
I agree. Especially considering the last 20 years, Middlesbrough and Sunderland have been around the same sort of positions, etc. And there's been some quite lively games between them as well. So
usually get good games between those two as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I agree with what Julio says. I think Newcastle Middlesbrough doesn't really add up to the hype of the other two.
The only Newcastle Middlesbrough game I remember from memory is, I think it's the penultimate game. You know, there's that midweek in May where the teams are playing their game in hand before the final game of the season.
Yeah.
Middlesbrough went away to Newcastle, and both teams were fighting relegation. And I think Newcastle won the game 3-1, which helped in their bid to survive. Now, obviously, they didn't survive. Both teams went down. But I think it was like 1-1 after 9 minutes.
Mhm.
And then Alan Shearer in the Newcastle dugout made some good substitutions.
Oh, 2008, 2009.
And then, they ended, I think Martins and Lovenkrands, I think two of Reece's favourite names actually on this show, I've heard him mention before, both came up with goals late on and won the game for Newcastle.
Loving
But it was
Trent
such a big game and it was an interesting game. And I loved the way the Newcastle players celebrated and the fans, the way they were through the game. But apart from that, there isn't really much else that I can think of from memory.
I remember just watching on telly. I watched a game. I can't remember the exact scoreline. It was I think it was a high scoring game though. 2005-06 season. Middlesbrough were fair decent side. That was
They were
McLaren
flying,
team.
yeah.
That was the McLaren team. Newcastle were actually decent, but they weren't like unreal. But they had a decent squad, and both teams were just going at each other left, right, and centre. Like it was genuinely just battering each other left, right. Like Mark Viduka was outstanding in that game though. But when you look at the games, I don't rate any of them. The only one that actually is interesting is Newcastle versus Sunderland. And it'll be funny when Sunderland actually probably beat them for the first time when they get back to the Prem. Like for the first time in years when they get back to the Prem, it'll be funny. Poor beats rich. But in terms of circumstance, Middlesbrough are the likeable team at the three anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just point something out as well? This might not be the most valid point in terms of like players going between rival clubs. But you see a lot of players go between Sunderland and Middlesbrough and Newcastle than you do between Sunderland and Newcastle, especially Sunderland and Middlesbrough, like Duncan Watmores and the Grant Ledbetters of the world playing for both teams.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Nathan, you're up.
I am. Which way do I go?
There's one game that I have my eyes on. If you take it, I will kill you.
I've got one that's screaming at me as well, and just because it's just a war.
I hate you. Bastard, that's what I wanted next. I was taking it. You dick.
In fact, I think it's borderline Old Firm. In
Yeah,
fact, it's going in.
In my opinion, it is actually top tier for violence. It had a film, for fuck's sake. It says a lot when Green Street Hooligan comes out because of West Ham versus Millwall. Unreal. So I have to come up with a new pick then.
Unbelievable derby, unbelievable atmosphere. There's nothing to say about it. It's just top tier.
You know what's funny? There's so many Leeds games in this, right? And only one of them is actually worth it, and it's probably Leeds versus Millwall. And maybe Cardiff. But apart from that, fuck me, the rest are boring.
They are.
I'm not even gonna.
No. To be fair.
I'm not even gonna bother with the rest of that heap of shit.
I was gonna say,
I'm gonna go.
Nathan, sorry, Reece, can I just cut in with something about Leeds? Nathan, do you remember the Leeds Huddersfield game when David Wagner was in charge and he celebrated at the end of the game and got into an argument with Gary Monk, I think it was?
Oh my god, I remember that.
I think Gary Monk just went in his way, so he bodied him. So Wagner bodied him.
This is comment of the fucking night when Frodo Baggins discovers football.
Oh, we need to hang that in the Louvre.
That is a Mona Lisa comment. That is like, it's more than finished, but it's timeless. I'm gonna get fucking killed for this. I am actually gonna get killed for this, but I'm gonna say it. It doesn't feel like what it used to be. This is where I'm going with, right? I've watched a few recently. I don't think it's as good as it used to be. Grab Notts County versus Notts Forest for me. I'm gonna get murdered for this. And I'll tell you when to stop. There you go.
I think I know where you're going.
It doesn't feel like it used to be, but the reason is, and this is not a disrespect on both clubs, by the way, Forest or County. The reason I have Forest versus County as poor is because you haven't seen them play at a top level competition for years.
Yeah.
In terms of fixture, it doesn't feel like it anymore.
I
So
mean, they
have them-
literally do it as friendlies now.
yeah, so I have them as poor. That's not a knock on either club, by the way. Both clubs have got a lot of history in terms of
Yeah.
English football, but when you look at the actual fixture, they're poor. They're actually not average. They're average.
I think you're on
But it
mute,
does-
Doug.
No, he's not on mute. He's just processing his mind.
Oh.
He's processing a counter rebuttal. I don't think it's as good as it used to be because they don't get the opportunity to play in cup games or the league anymore, and I feel sorry
Yeah.
for them. Like, I feel sorry for that way. You should be allowed to play like a relevant derby game that matters to you like that every season. Like Man United versus Liverpool. If you don't have that in football, if you don't have that in a season, then what's the fucking point? Forest fans need County, and County fans need Forest fans. You know what I mean? Like, you need
Yeah.
that derby. You're highly likely going to see it again. That's why I think it's average. If this had been 30 years ago, then I'd say, fuck me, it's right up the very top. But now it's right down. And that's not arrogance of being a Man United fan, by the way. It's just the fact that when's the next time you're going to see it in like a game where it's really going to hit hard?
Mhm.
I don't know. That's why I think it's average. If you think I'm being harsh, tell me. By all means, if you think I'm being harsh, tell me.
Doug, you're up.
I only have one more derby left, maybe two left that I can actually comment on that I think are actually worth my time.
I'm gonna say Hearts Hibs.
Bastard.
I mean, there is hatred between the two, but it turned into a really damp squib of a derby. It's not
muted,
the
isn't
same.
it?
It's not
After-
the same. It's never been quite the same.
I think it changed. Let me get your opinion. I think it changed when when Rangers, Hearts, and Hibs were in the Championship all at once, the 14-15 season.
Yes.
I think at that point, that's when it really lost it completely. I don't know why.
I think a
but
lot
it
of
felt
fans
weird.
turned away as well from their respective clubs.
Mhm.
Yeah. Which is a shame.
I mean, I want to put in hatred, but actually, I'm going to keep it in good.
Yeah.
I just don't think it
Oh.
has it at the moment.
Please save, please save, please save. I accidentally pressed the wrong button on my mouse then. Oh my god.
It's alright. I could have just rewinded the stream and just confirmed every place. It's cool.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to. What am I missing? Hang on, let me get them back on quick.
Was it?
Yeah, I just had an absolute clanger there and pressed the wrong button. I accidentally duplicated
what-
something now.
What have you done?
I know. What have I done? Don't worry, it'll be fixed in no time, lads.
Cardiff fans in direction. I mean, swear to God. Like,
Right,
There's
don't
one
worry.
game in there I'm questioning if it's even a derby. Middlesbrough derby. Really?
is that the Yorkshire one?
Yeah,
Even
that's
I was
not a
questioning
derby.
Derby's not Yorkshire. Derby's
It's got to
in
hit
Midlands
hard.
way.
Yeah, it's got to
Yeah, it's
hit.
nowhere near Middlesbrough.
No.
And then where is it? That one.
I wonder if it's just because of the fact that Derby had a worse points record than Middlesbrough, and Middlesbrough fans made a derby out of it.
No, it's the Steve McLaren derby. The Wally with the
It's not-
brolly off.
The
Oh,
Wally with the
God,
Brolly
man.
derby.
Maybe the Billy
They're
Davis
fixed.
derby, I suppose.
Not sure.
Yes, good point. Let's see, whose turn is it? Julio's. Is it Julio's turn?
Julio.
Yep, you're up, kid.
Oh, excuse me. Let's have a look now. Hang on, what's that one there? Oh no, that's
Which
Grimsby
one?
Lincoln. Don't
Yeah.
worry about that.
I've never watched them play each other, so I will never comment on that one.
Merseyside Blue versus Merseyside Red. I didn't know if we had the licensing available.
all right, Mr. Tez, man.
I love the fact that you went full on. Now I'm gonna have to do man red versus man blue next.
I'd probably say hatred.
Yeah.
Do you know what? If both teams were fighting for the league every year,
Is it?
I
don't
reckon
know.
I don't think it's hatred. That's
I think it's
the
good.
derby
It's
with
known
the
as
two
the
sets of
friendly
fans
derby for a
mixing
reason.
amongst each
oh, yeah,
other.
that's true.
I think it's good. I think it's good. That's like, and I'm gonna do the same for Man City versus. I'm literally gonna do Man City versus Man United. By the way, I think that's just a good derby.
Hmm.
It's not my choice, by the way. I just think that's where I'm putting them.
I think it's Man City United is so muted, isn't it?
It is very muted. I
Compared
think
to others on the
there's
list.
always
Man City, Man United is in previous years definitely. I think it's one-sided.
It's the most one-sided derby in football.
Everton Liverpool is the same. I think.
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, that tones it down, doesn't it?
Derbies,
To be
East
fair-
Midlands. Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah. To be
I
fair, with
wasn't
Everton
sure.
Liverpool, because we have seen some heated derbies in the past,
Yeah.
like as one-off fixtures between them. But they have pulled up some really good fixtures before. So I don't know. I mean, you remind me obviously when you say that it's called the friendly derby, and it's a name I completely forgot about. So I'd probably
when
put
you
it in
think
good.
about it,
Yeah.
Like, here's a genuine quick comment, by the way, and this is is just a fact. See, ever since the first division, it goes back to the first division and all that. When fixture lists and all that came out in the papers back then, and then obviously CFAX, obviously late in the 90s and all that shit. And then you get Teletext. Such a good thing. Especially if you're a Wycombe Wanderers fan in 99, 2000. What a funny way to beat Leicester. And then obviously, like, TV. When fixtures came out, Man United fans went straight looking for Liverpool. Liverpool fans went straight looking for Man United. When's the game at Old Trafford? When's the game at Anfield? Who gave a fuck about Man City versus Man United? Who gave a fuck about Liverpool versus Everton? When Liverpool fans look at Everton, they're like, when are we going to take our first shit? That's what they're doing. They're like, here you go, Darwin News is taking a dump in the penalty spot. There you go, game over. My United fans, look.
I think.
David
I think if I'm being fair, Reece, I think the Everton Liverpool derby was definitely the friendly derby at one point, but not anymore. I don't really see many fans sitting in amongst each other now. It's a rare occasion that you sometimes get it, but not these days now.
Yeah,
it is weird. Like, Everton fans obviously go looking for you guys first, but you guys go looking for us. We go looking for you.
Yeah,
that's just what it is.
Exactly.
Like obviously nowadays it's big in terms of, like, it's not big, but obviously, like, it's still an important game. It's not the first game we go looking for, and that's the way of it, and that's how I feel. Nathan, have you picked one?
Nope, it is actually my turn. Welcome in, Maisie, by the way.
Good evening.
So you couldn't see me wave there.
Steve, that's 'cause you're
one is screaming at me. Cross-border derby. Ridiculous.
Really?
Absolutely ridiculous derby.
I'm staying out of this. I've never watched a Wrexham Chester game in my life. I'm staying out
I
of
would
this.
never have had a clue. Never had a clue. Thanks, Maisie.
Honestly, if anyone remembers the bootleg and nostalgia, gonna keep it short, but gonna keep it sweet. Honestly, watch his Wrexham Chester vlogs. They are nuts.
I've never watched these games in my life, so you're gonna have to really paint the picture here. Like,
Honestly,
I'm giving you a blank canvas and a paintbrush. You're gonna have to really sell this game to me now because I've never watched them.
Put it
Okay,
this
I've
way,
never watched one now.
there are so many memes about this fixture. Honestly, once you guys have finished this stream, type in Wrexham versus Chester bootlegger. You'll be like, oh my god, what a derby.
Okay, I will. Because I think it's crazy. I think this is a fair one.
Yeah. This was nuts this season.
Yeah, to be fair, that was when I was looking at Preston versus Blackpool, but it was a good shout. Me, on the other hand, I'm going to go away from the big... Obviously, there is a very big derby on the top row. There's a very big derby on the top row. I'm going to go away from it.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to go towards a different one that I think is actually fitting. I've already said Man United versus Man City I think is good. But I'm going to say Wigan versus Bolton.
I'm interested in that one, actually.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
See, when these two have always played, and obviously I've watched these a few times, Maisie is spot on. Can I just immediately say spot on? West Brom versus Wolves is definitely top tier.
Yeah.
That was my next one. Thanks, Maze.
She supersedes you. Top tier. I've not watched them in years, so I haven't watched this derby in years, right? So I'm going based. I'm kind of being a little bit hypocritical here in terms of what I've just done to Forest versus County. But games I've watched with Wigan versus Bolton, like back, I think Wigan versus Bolton is literally up one.
Yeah.
I think that's hatred between them. Not even just competitive hatred. It's hatred over the pride of where they come from as well.
To be fair, have you seen how close these two sides are?
Oh, they're incredibly close. I mean, I literally just passed
one
one
of the closest derbies.
It's very territorial.
Yeah.
Like, that's a territorial arrogance derby, and it gets you. I think in terms of who's the better fixture, I think Bolton do edge it in terms of Wigan. Obviously, Wigan right now I think are a better team than Bolton. But in terms of when I've watched these games, Bolton have always been the better side.
Yeah.
But it's the Wigan fans' passion that really makes it, and I think that's where it comes from. It's so territorial. It's so fascinating as a fixture. I think there's an element to maybe say World War III. It depends on what you guys think. I think there's an element to put in World War III.
To be honest, I think that if Wigan
hatred
were a
is
little bit of a bigger club and a slightly bigger fan base, they would be in World War III.
I mean, come on. To be fair, they did
Wigan
do us all.
and
They
City
did do
without
us
the
all a
money.
favour. Yeah, they did us all a
They
favour.
did,
They beat
yeah.
Man City in an FA Cup final. Like, that was the best sense of fucking up the rich men. Had to be a ginger as well. But in terms of like, I think in terms of like, obviously
From with gingers.
nothing. It's like nothing at all. I'm just saying, like, the gingers do it the right way. Obviously, Maisie does come from Manchester. So I think I would like to get Maisie's point of view on this. Maisie says Palace versus Brighton. Hatred for me too. Their fans are so funny. Very true. Maisie, if you think I'm wrong in that circumstance with Bolton versus Wigan, I'd love to get your point of view. But what would you think? Okay. Now
Good shout.
You're testing the metal of the Scottish fans. You know what's worse is she's actually correct. She's actually correct. If the Dundee derby is if the derby is actually on this list, then yeah, that is definitely hatred.
It is.
Have we got it? Yeah.
Ooh.
Thank God I was looking for it. That is definitely.
Yeah, I
hatred.
was looking for it as well. I was like, I know.
Yeah. But yeah, 100% Wigan versus Bolton for me is hatred. But I'd like to get someone else's perspective. If you think I'm wrong, come at me. Again, it's just point of view.
To be honest, I agree with you. Doug, your turn, man.
Where we go?
Guys, get your comments in the chat as well. Like your selection where you want to go. Like if you want that we haven't named yet, if you want to put them in a particular tier, put your comment in. It'll certainly
And help
go
us
into
as
Yeah.
that
well.
spot.
Help us.
There's a few derbies in here. Like, I'm going to be honest. See, in terms of the last 3 games I can talk about that I've actually watched and I think are mental, the Manchester derby, North London derby, and Portsmouth versus Southampton. Apart from that, I'm just going based on historical memory. The rest is just weird for me.
I can definitely give you one for hatred.
Mhm.
MK Dons AFC Wimbledon. Literally,
Yes.
one team has taken one name and basically made it a new football club. The other team has
Yeah.
basically taken the old Wimbledon's name and basically continuing as AFC Wimbledon. Look,
This is a
that-
derby that shouldn't exist, really.
it
But
shouldn't.
so
It
bad
shouldn't.
it has to.
But there is definitely personal hatred because
Of course
of
there is.
the circumstances of what happened to Wimbledon as well. But I mean, I'll be honest. Like it is a kind of a newish derby, but I think history says that is personal hatred, because you make MK Dons out of one team and then you make AFC Wimbledon. For me, personal hatred, but I don't know what anyone else thinks.
For me, they're firmly in hatred for me.
Maisie has suggested Portsmouth Southampton as average. By
I
chat
disagree.
by chat opinion, put it in. Although
Wow.
it used to be wild though, like when Harry
It-
Redknapp man.
to be fair, I reckon if they played now, this is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
They've had cup
The thing
ties
is-
in
the
recent years, but obviously when you look at Southampton have been at Premier League level and Portsmouth have been League One, maybe
They've
they've
sort
not
of
been as
done a
good as.
switcheroo, haven't they? So obviously Portsmouth you had in the Premier League and Southampton in League One. They've just gone like that.
Looks
Yeah,
like Portsmouth might be
massively.
coming
I
up to league to the championship though.
Well, you have to hope is
Because-
Russell Martin bottles it in the playoffs.
Which he will.
I remember one that was weird. Do you guys remember when Harry Redknapp got sacked by Southampton? He went to Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Yes.
See the follow up to that. Southampton fans, Jesus Christ, it was hilarious. Absolute peak banter from somebody who doesn't support either club, obviously, but it was fucking insane. For the record, the only reason my camera's off is obviously because I ordered a late dinner, so I've got a nice chippy. I've got some doner meat beside me in a box, so I'm just chucking it a
Nice.
bit of that.
Fat.
No body shaming on this podcast.
I'm not body shaming. I'm
I
just
am
criticizing Reese's eating habits.
Oi, I had a fantastic breakfast yesterday and this morning. I've been eating
That's
really
nice.
good.
That's very nice.
I
didn't
deserve,
ask,
I
though.
deserve this. Don't ever
So,
call me
Doug,
fat. I am not.
so,
I am
Doug,
definitely not
Doug,
fat.
Mm.
Who's your next pick?
I mean, I've obviously just picked the MK Dons AFC Wimbledon. I mean, is this really a derby? Where is it? Middle of the derby. How is that a derby?
It goes
Is it a
in
rivalry?
Tim Pot,
Is
doesn't
Yeah.
I know they've
Get
had
in
taken
there.
fixtures over the years, but I'm sorry, whoever made this must be a Middlesbrough or Derby fan. 'Cause,
How is that a
both of them
derby?
are on loads.
How
I know they've had
is
fixtures, but-
Derby Middlesbrough an actual derby? I don't get it, but yeah, for me, Tim Pot, 100%.
Fair play, well said. Julio, you're up. I think he's gonna have to. Shall I sneak his spot? Yeah, let's sneak his spot. I'm gonna agree with Maisie. This is Tim Pot. I mean, I was watching it. It looks like Doug's lagged out there a little bit. I was watching this one earlier in the season. I wasn't impressed. It feels like another game, which does pain me to say it. But yeah, sadly for me, nah, this has got DC World. This one, Millwall Leeds has got some history in it. And boy, is it feisty. But yeah, Brentford, Fulham.
It does, Danny. Like, Millwall Leeds is vitriol at its peak.
It's nuts.
Right, I'm up then, eh?
Yeah.
There is another Tin Pot one in there for me. And I'm just going to come out and say it. Because I do think it's absolute fucking Tin Pot. Yeah, fuck it. Is it the one is that who's the one with Reading? Not Reading, sorry, fucking Brighton.
Here, Crawley.
Aye, fucking Tin Pot.
That's
Who
terrible.
cares? Who gives a
When
fuck?
was the last time they played?
I know.
No idea. Tin Pot.
Oh, that's
Media Tin
hilarious.
Pot. Absolute weirdos.
Wow. I'm stuck between two. I did see it earlier, but I can't seem to see it. No, where is it? Leeds Bradford. Sorry, maybe once upon a time that was a good derby. Not now. They've hardly played each other ever since. Poor for me.
I mean, at the end of the day, especially with like Leeds and stuff, this is like Bradford's main one, but with the amount of derbies that Leeds have got on the position they're in, like Bradford are probably like 5th on their list.
25 million, Maisie. Or it feels like it.
I mean, how many more games? 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got another 5 Leeds games to predict. Like, put on this tier list. That's just nuts. Everyone hates Leeds. We all hate Leeds.
Does everyone agree with the Leeds Bradford? Just a poor one.
They're like 5th on the list. Like,
It's shite.
it is.
Like their Premier League record since 1993. And their record in the European Cup.
Yeah.
Been a long time since you were in that, you know. Should never got rid of old Leary, shouldn't you? Up, you bastards.
Julio, you're up.
Yep, Julio.
Well, I missed my last turn, so I'll just pick 2 now.
Yeah, go for it.
You can have 2 by proxy, yes. Pick 2 shit ones in, we'll have to rethink your evaluation.
I want to put Villa, Birmingham in hatred.
Yes,
For me, that
100%
shows
agree.
one.
You are spot on by that, yes.
I think it goes up to World War 3. Like when was it? So the last time, which
Jack
was
Grealish?
shocking, Jack Grealish
The fan-
incident.
I was going to
You
say
had
the Grealish
Pick
incident.
invasion.
The best
off.
moment from that derby was Olive Melberg passing it straight to Peter Enkelman, who literally allows the ball to slip under his foot and goes into the back of the net.
Absolute humour. Absolute
To be
humour of
fair,
that.
I
It was
put it in
hilarious.
World War 3 just for the dangers of the fans being in Birmingham alone.
Do you remember when David O'Leary was manager of Aston Villa? And he went over to, I think it was the late Doug Ellis, and literally cheered in front of the fans. And I think he actually got a fine for basically over celebrating.
I think there's one other moment
Game's
that
gone.
stands out.
Game's gone.
There's one other moment for me that stands out, and it's absolutely fucking funny. It's when Alex McLeish went, "Fuck this, I'm out," and he went to Villa for
Yeah,
Birmingham.
2011. So he
He
wins
went-
the League Cup.
He went to
They
League Cup, was like,
sleepwalk
"Fuck
to
this."
relegation, and then it goes right. Okay, I'm going up foot to Aston Villa and getting sacked within a year.
You know what?
Maisie
Any
has
derby that
commented.
has a trophy as well goes straight up there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that
get
game
it.
is just pure hatred.
Can we also say as well, let's be real, this derby is also important for one other reason. This is the Clough derby.
Mm.
Yeah.
This is the derby that produced the last great energetic English manager. Like top tier intelligent English manager. Nigel Clough. Fuck me. Fuck me, what a man. Rich, obviously you've asked a great question. We'll come to that. We'll come to that shortly. But get your opinions in on these derbies. Argyle Leicester's a horrible derby too. World War III or hatred. I can't comment on that. I'll let you guys take an opinion before I name my pick. And you guys
Hang
I'm
want
on,
to
going to
say?
take
I haven't had
Argyle
my
Leicester
second
as my
pick yet.
next one.
I haven't had my second
Yeah.
pick yet.
So go on then.
Spurs Arsenal hatred.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really? You think North London derby is that low?
Yeah.
I think
Here's
in
a
recent years it's actually been a very good derby.
Yeah. I was
I
going to
think
ask.
especially that Arsenal are a lot better now than they were. It has
No, but
like,
they've always
it has
had that
rocketed.
like pure like it's been quite a pure rivalry. I think they've had some really good games, but I don't think it's as low as good. But I don't
Yeah.
think it's pure like unadulterated like hatred like other derbies to be in World War III. Do you know what I mean? I think hatred is probably where it's at.
Yeah.
Here's a question. What's the best? Not going to ask specific. Not going to ask best game because there's a few you can go through. But see, in terms of actual goals, what's the best goal you've seen in North London derby? For me, it's probably Pavlyuchenko's goal.
What about the Danny Rose volley?
It was.
I'd say
late 2008, you had obviously David Bentley and Aaron Lennon in that
Yeah.
4-all. You had Danny Rose in early 2010, late 2009. The Emery Pochettino derby of late 2018 was a goal fest, and it was quite. So there were some quite good goals.
I thought Gareth Bale scored a few nice ones. To be fair.
Yeah.
Thomas Rosicky at the White Hart Lane in
Yes,
the 2014-15 season.
Yeah. And then obviously, I mean, I don't think you can not talk about North London derby without talking about any Thierry Henry's goals.
Oh,
Scored some
Even-
really, scored
Even
some
Van
really,
Persie's goal in 2012, Arsenal 2-0 down, and he equalised.
Oh.
no, true. That was a sublime finish.
Literally,
by
he
the
did a
man
full
who
360 with the ball around a player, and then just curled it in left-footed.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I can hear this comment.
You know what? I would love it if we did a tier list like that. I would love it.
I mean, what am I going to say? Those Leeds managers really disrespected their manager.
Mm.
We need to talk
about a man who's- like
Stuart.
Whose shot is it?
Pearce. It's me. It is me.
Right, as promised with Maze, I'm
Um,
gonna take Plymouth Exeter.
You can have
Argyle
that.
fans absolutely nuts. Exeter fans
I'm a-
absolutely nuts. This thing's in World War III.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say is, like Nathan, if I were you, I'd cover your ears. 'Cause I'm about to disrespect your club.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Need
Scroll down,
this,
sir.
I need this.
I don't give a shit. I think you'd know that by now.
Which one? Seven side or Leeds?
Both of them. Sorry, Nathan, but I don't care. Both of them. 7-side and versus Leeds. One of them is Tin Pot. The other is
Nah. Well, to be honest, with
one of them is fucking Tin Pot and the other is good. And I'm gonna let you decide which one, because I think if you've got a brain, you'll know which one is Tin Pot.
I can't actually tell which one's Tin Pot just because of how good the last derby is with 7-side.
Leeds has to be Tin Pot because that's almost non-existent by comparison.
Exactly.
At least 7 side, there's a location.
Yep.
There's a geographic one.
Leeds.
Yeah, but then
Leeds-
again,
Leeds-
Cardiff Leeds though. What about 2002
Oh, shove 2002.
and all
You're
the
both-
games since?
both-
Oh,
You're both wank. I'm sorry, mate. You're a mate. Carl's a mate, but your clubs are wank. Cardiff versus Leeds is fucking tin pot.
yeah, but then again, how is it Middlesbrough Derby though? That sort of level, and you can't have it in a category of
Pish. It's just pish.
no.
Fine, I'll be generous to you. Poor.
Put it. That's fine. That is absolutely
Fuck.
fine.
I made Doug
Reece,
piss himself. I made Doug piss
Reece, I
himself.
thought
that
you were a
much.
man of principle. I thought you died on hills.
I haven't died on this one. I didn't say fuck it. Like, what are you doing?
He's cheating. He's cheating.
I never selected that
Shouting.
wank position. Oh, you're putting them both in already. He's being generous. Good man. But fuck me. Like, if there's derbies in there's we need to decipher Leeds United as a fucking as a football club. when it comes
Do you wanna
to
know how bad
derbies
it
and
is?
rivalries.
Listen, we know how much everyone hates Leeds, but my first day at one of my first days at uni, my very first day, my very first lecture, the first person I met, and I was like, "Where are you from?" And she was like, "I'm from Leeds." And in my head was just playing every single hatred thing to do with Leeds. I don't think you understand quite how much I held it in, because there were so many things I wanted to say, but I was like, it's not fair on you. I'm so sorry you were brought up in Leeds.
I mean, at the end of the day, Leeds are such a massive club. I'm pretty sure like every single person in the UK knows at least one Leeds fan.
To be fair, see if I actually met Carl face. Actually, no, I have actually. That's an insult. I never got to ask him this last time when I met him.
Oh yeah, I have met Leeds, man.
I didn't get to ask Carl when I met him.
I'm sorry.
Over a year ago. I should have asked him. I should have said, how did it feel when you gave us Cantona? How did it feel when you gave us fucking Rio Ferdinand? And how did it feel when you gave us Alan Smith? I should have asked him when I seen him. He probably would have decked me, because I am taller than Carl, but he is fucking huge. He probably would have killed me. Like, he is big built. Like, Doug will back me up. Carl is fucking built like a tank. So if I'd asked him that, he probably would have killed me. I'm glad I didn't ask him that. We should have mugged off the Motherwell fans instead. Like, bastards they were that game as well. But that was a good experience. But it's alright, you can have Gordon Strachan. He was finished then. But there's nothing else there. I mean, I don't get the significance of Wimbledon and Charlton. Someone explain that to me. Is that Derby?
It's poor. It used to be
well-
good, like probably in the 80s and 90s when, I think it was when like Wimbledon were ground sharing with Crystal Palace, but
I've never seen them play each other. You know, it's quite weird. I've never seen them play each other.
I think for that reason,
I'm surprised there's one game that none of us have actually decided to choose yet. And it's in the second to last row.
Okay, there's not the one I thought you were
yeah,
going to say.
I'm thinking of two. No, three that I can see. There's some big games in that second to last.
I'm genuinely surprised no one's picked up the Sheffield Derby. I mean, that says a lot.
Yeah.
Like the derby between both clubs.
Hatred, isn't it?
It says a lot between them two that we haven't went to it. But it's not my turn, so take it away, chaps. Let me see what you're thinking.
Doug, you're up.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick one of them in that row. I'm gonna go pick Blackburn Burnley.
That was my next one.
That for me is borderline hatred, borderline World War III. They two absolutely hate each other.
For me, I'm debating whether that goes in World War III, just with like Bubble Trip again.
I'd probably say hatred, probably.
Yeah. Especially with Burnley, how good they've been the last couple of years. Julio, you're up.
What's the second to last one on the top row? It's that Reading with...
That's Reading Oxford. But
Reading Oxford. Oh, Jesus. Jesus, that takes me back to a lot of train journeys I've made at uni. Generally, the trains I take from Northampton to Reading, including going through Oxford into Reading. I'm not going to pick that one for now. I'm just going to put United City in good.
yeah.
Mhm.
You know, City did the double over us in our double winning season in 2008. And it's not as bad as when the year after we won the league, but Liverpool did the double over us. But Liverpool beat us 2-1 at Anfield and 4-1 at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it was always bad when Liverpool did it. And I think as we all remember that 4-3, you know, with, you know, the wannabe Scouser scoring for United in the 90 plus, Lord knows how many minutes against City, you know, and that year of derbies, I don't think we've seen anything since, because obviously it was City with their newfound wealth, their newfound like quality in the team. You know, there's the 4-3, and then there was the League Cup semi-finals, the 2-1 defeat at the Etihad, and then United coming back and winning 3-1 in the home leg with Rooney scoring in the last minute. And then obviously there's the Scholes last minute header at the Etihad, or Eastlands they called it back then.
Yeah.
But those were some really interesting derbies. It was so entertaining to watch, because it was, you had United who were always good against the underdog, the little Manchester team, who suddenly had all these quality players, and they're like, we can go toe to toe with them now. So they went all at it. But even though it's been one-sided, obviously over the last 10 years, obviously there's been instances where United have won games. There have been some good games. There's been some bad ones in our worst periods. But it's just a good derby. It's a good local derby. It's entertainment, but that's it. It's not like as hatred as Liverpool, for example. I think the other thing as well, none of us United fans like it when City win, but if you have to compare, if Liverpool win something, everyone's like, oh my god. But when City win, even rival fans, they don't care.
Like, I think the one thing that these games have always had is there's always been good goal games in them. Like, you very rarely see a boring like 0-0 or 1-1 draw between these two, or even a 2-2. It's not boring. It's always fun and enjoyable. But if they win something, the only time it really annoyed me when Man City won something was obviously the treble. But that fucking annoyed me, obviously, for different reasons. But the only time before that, there's only been 3 times where City had done something that really pissed me off. So obviously the game against QPR, when the sexist wanker of the 21st century, Joey Barton, obviously got himself sent off the fucking cunt.
And failed to take anyone with him.
Exactly, which allowed them to win the league in 2012. Obviously, before that, it was the 6-1 with Balotelli, obviously, when he took his shirt off. That really annoyed me as well, because that was a fucking battering that we got that day. And then the last one was obviously the 50th anniversary for the Munich air disaster, when we lost. We lost 2-1 to City, to Sven's team. Like, Sven had them play some good football, but it just fucking, and it was painful to, like, on the anniversary of obviously the most tragic incident in our club's history, and we lost to City, and I'm like you absolute bastards. But apart from that, prior to that, there was nothing. Like, absolute nothing. You have to go back decades to when we lost when Dennis Law scored, for when they had a meaningful impact. There's nothing else.
That's fair. Is it my turn next?
It's your turn,
Yes.
yeah.
It is. I thought it was. I'm gonna go Pompey Saints.
Oh, you are
World War
not.
3.
Oh, you are not. Why you doing this to me? Son of a bitch.
I mean, it's lively as anything, isn't it? Let's be fair. When these teams were playing like same divisions, cups, never fails to disappoint. Their fans despise each other. That's what you need. Reece, you're up.
Okay. I'm actually going to put it very high because it does have a lot of relevance and it definitely fights back. Especially when you remember that season where they almost done it. I'm going to put Chelsea versus Spurs and I'm going to put them fairly high, to be honest. I think that's hatred.
Yeah.
Especially when we've seen the games where they really hit each other hard, like the season where when obviously Spurs came third in a 2-horse leg race and all that, or when they nearly won the league a season after, like the season later when they bottled it to Chelsea. Like when you look at it in a nutshell, it was those games where you've really seen the hell between both fans and the players. The FA Cup game as well that Chelsea edged under. Chelsea edged it with the Matic goal. You really see it. And that's why I think there was hatred between them. Also, when both teams were relatively similar level pre-Abramovich money, obviously Chelsea were winning European competitions in the FA Cups in the 90s. Apart from that, the games were very even, which made it more hate from a London perspective. That's why I think it's hatred for me.
100%. Yeah, I agree. Especially with, well, we get to Tottenham, West Ham, etc., but I think they feed in quite well as well, to be honest, because there's this sort of this, like, in particular with the London Premier League clubs, when it revolves Spurs, there's a lot of hatred in there, but yeah, we'll get to those shortly. Doug, your turn.
What's that one that says full time? Bottom row.
That one is Oxford Swindon.
No
Oh.
wonder we can't see it because nobody cares.
I mean, I was amazed Walsall West Brom was a derby to begin with. I just.
Who's that with Leighton
I
Orient?
just-
Who's that with Leighton Orient? In between, it's the one that's beside West Brom Walsall.
That's Darlington Hartlepool.
I thought it was Leighton Orient. Sorry. Similar badge, to be fair. I mean, I must
Every
admit.
Darlington fan, the only two of them hate you now.
I mean, I must admit, when you look at FIFA, right, and I'm not using FIFA as my generation of logic or using it for my way of thinking, but when you look at the Leighton Orient badge compared to Hartlepool, it is slightly similar. I don't mean that in disrespect. It just looks slightly similar. That's why I thought it was Leighton Orient. But this is where it's going to get really interesting for me in terms of pick. Yep.
Norwich, Ipswich. Oh, that's hard. There's been some classic fixtures between the sides, I've got to say.
I was going to say, I would say World War III, but I don't think they're violent enough on that part of the country.
No,
I'm pretty sure the last time they played each other at Carrow Road, this is when they're in the same league, there was like one row between both of the fans.
Yeah,
And it was
it's
viral.
hatred. I would say personal hatred.
Yeah.
I think it'd be amazing if Ipswich came up. I really would.
It'd be
I want
funny.
to see you back in the Premier League.
At Norwich expense, it would be so funny.
Who knew you're up?
I'm just going to get this.
See before you
Sorry,
go, I
Reece?
just have one. See before you go, I just have one question. What's the one in between Sheffield Wednesday Doncaster and the Wednesday Rotherham? Who's that?
Grimsby Lincoln.
Oh, I'm staying away. I haven't got a fucking clue.
I'm just going to get this one out of the way. Reading Oxford, I don't know much about their rivalry. I'm just going to put them in poor because I believe
Yeah.
they until this season they hadn't had a derby for 20 years. And I would have put them in tin pot had it A, not been geographical, B, not been named Thames Valley, which is what water is called down there.
Mhm.
Yep.
And C, there was a bunch of arrests at the last derby. So
It's true.
Mm.
I just
Probably
want to
because
say
it's
as
been
well.
brewing all those years.
Dan's put a comment in the chat. I'll get that in just a moment. One thing I wanted to say, this came from Sky Sports about 50 minutes ago, saying football's independent regular will have power to settle ongoing route over financial distribution between Premier League and EFL.
Interesting.
So, and also, sadly, Emma Raducanu has withdrawn from the Miami Open with a lower back injury.
what's happened to her? Oh my God.
Injury after
Ever since
injury.
Ever since she's had those jabs, weirdly enough, she's just gone downhill for injuries. It's a shame. Similar to me, like lower back's my problem, but and obviously it does go up. But for her, that's a damn shame because she's absolutely brilliant. Apart from the team that she supports, I mean, she's a Tottenham fan, but like she's
Yeah, but who
absolutely,
cares? You can move past it.
and she's brilliant at tennis. Though, like, she's genuinely really good.
Mm.
So Dan said Walsall and West Brom is definitely a rivalry. Not as big as Wolves Baggies though, but Walsall is literally next door to West Brom.
It's literally a 5-minute drive.
Seriously.
So there's definitely a lot of pain there. So
Then again,
This is just an
imagine
overall
being a
suggestion.
Walsall fan and having all these
wouldn't know.
massive clubs around you.
I wouldn't know what that felt like. I don't have that worry. What would we think though, just in terms of the local side of it though? Obviously, this is not my pick. I know my pick's coming up. I just mean circumstance. What are we thinking?
I think it goes in poor, along with like Reading, Oxford, and stuff.
Okay.
Don't think
Yeah.
it's in pot.
I'm gonna go.
Can I just say something? I'm surprised there's no Reading Cardiff.
Not really.
To be fair, after the last couple of years, I'm in a way surprised.
Shit doesn't burn. Those two clubs do.
But it is very fair, to be fair.
I was gonna pick Southampton, Bournemouth, but no, I'm alright. I'm gonna go Leicester Forest. I'm gonna put it in good.
Yeah, that's good.
It's not great. It's not hatred. It's not World War III. It's just good. And Forest are still the bigger club. Unless Leicester somehow manage to win a European Cup at some stage.
Yeah.
Then they can maybe say, well, we're a little bit better than you, but then they can turn and say, well, we've got two. Just for bragging rights, that'd be a funny derby for the bragging rights, but yeah. Yeah, it's just good. Plus, they went ages without playing each other as well.
They did. Doug, you're off.
I'm gonna be moving these two in the same bit.
Mhm.
Hull Leeds poor
Yep.
and Hull Leeds tin pot.
Hull Leeds
Yeah.
is terrible.
100%. Spot on, mate. Julio? We should really do two at a time now because it's
Yeah,
I
I
was just
agree,
thinking
yeah.
the same thing. I'm gonna put Cambridge, Peterborough in average because they don't like each other, but then they don't tend to be in the same divisions a lot of the time, and when they do, there was a 5-0 drubbing at one point in one of the recent fixtures, but
It is
Yeah,
it's
entertaining
one
off
of
the
those.
pitch, though.
And your next one?
I'm gonna go with Spurs, West Ham, and I'm gonna put them in good.
I
Yeah.
think that's fair. Nathan, two?
Harrogate York is tin pot. No offense to either fan base. And then I'm gonna
Straight
go.
off of that. Love
Cardiff Newport, it hasn't
thought,
happened
oh.
in my lifetime,
It probably
but
never
I have
will.
a feeling if it did happen, it would go in. It
It's a
probably would go in
shithole.
good.
It's an absolute shithole. It was the quickest exit on a train I've ever been on.
I don't blame
Cardiff
you.
or Newport?
Going from Newport to Cardiff when I went to meet Nathan like 3 years ago. Like literally met Nathan at the Principality Stadium. Fucking Newport is an absolute clusterfuck. Never going there again. I'm never going again. Shithole.
Julio,
Right,
have you actually ever been to Newport?
Nope. I've been to
Oh my
Cardiff,
God.
but not Newport.
Put it this way: once you get in, you want to get out.
You do.
It's like
Luton and them, man.
It's like every time I say, well, "What's the best thing about Aberdeen?" It's the exit sign. It's when you're in, you just want to get out.
Neil
I'm
Warnock
gonna-
probably agrees.
I think this is the only derby as well where there's more fans who live in the one city than their own fans.
Cardiff is
yes.
Newport.
Yeah.
Cardiff fans all in Newport. Yeah. Pretty much like all the Man United fans like just dominate London. Like we
Yeah.
don't see a lot of Arsenal fans. Just kidding, Arsenal fans. I'm just kidding. Don't cry, because you're going trophyless. I'm gonna pick my two. I'm gonna say Leicester Coventry is very good. Like I think it's a good derby. That, to be fair, I think
That
it's
was
good.
nuts this season.
Yeah, it is. And last one. Don't know why I'm putting that voice on, but I'm sticking with it. Preston Blackpool World War III.
Yeah. That's a nuts one.
Yeah, I'm going with that. That's where I'm at right now. Right, Doug, pick two.
Really impressed last season when that was on.
Oh yeah, and you know what's even better? For the whole show, by the way, consistently we've maintained 28 audience.
To be fair, we have smashed it tonight, lads. Fair play.
Right, I'm going to go Chelsea Fulham.
Mhm.
Hatred.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially the last couple of years as well when Fulham
Yeah.
stepped up.
They made it a fight.
Millwall Leeds. It's got to be World War III. Those
Yeah,
two
that's
absolutely despise each other.
Was it last season?
Everyone
when they
despises
went-
them.
Was it not last season when there was literally violence, like shot windows being smashed and all that?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
fuck. Insanity on a different level. Wild. Julio, 2 picks. What have you got?
Firstly, sorry, I was in a group chat. I've just seen it start to pop off with some angry comments.
Ignore it for now.
Birmingham City, Coventry. I'm going to put in Paul because
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
mainly just Coventry forcing it. Like Birmingham don't care about Coventry.
Yeah.
Bottom
Yeah.
row, third in.
Oh, yeah, I got him.
Yeah, poor.
And then
It's because
Fact.
Leicester got so good in that one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. You know what, mate? Take another 2.
Yeah.
Take another 2.
Take-
Okay.
Take 4.
Great.
And that'll bring us down to 8. That'll bring us down to 18.
Take 4 in
then-
total.
Yeah, go for it. Keep going.
Clean up the board.
Jesus.
We're
Great.
gonna have to.
So-
We've got literally 7 minutes, so you need to cook this.
Oh crap.
For anyone wondering,
This-
for anyone wondering, it's 7 minutes because Spotify for the channel has a 3-hour time limit. That's why.
I don't know. I'm probably just gonna put. Is that Darlington Torquay?
It's
Exeter
Cruel,
Torquay.
Yeah.
Exeter Torquay. Right. Well, that's
Yeah.
my bad. I don't know much about that, so I'm probably just gonna put that in tin pot, just because I don't know anything about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Again, we're not offending your fans. We're just offending Leeds.
I won't stand for it. That's why I'm sitting. Oh yeah, there's still me. So I've only
Yeah,
picked two
honestly
of my
keep
4.
going. Just keep going.
What's the 1/3 from the right on the top row?
Watford. Someone.
That is, I think that's Burton Derby.
Actually, that is Burton. Yeah, that's Burton Derby. Yeah,
Okay.
that's actually average.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds. I think that's average. QPR Fulham. How big is that one? If you don't mind me asking.
It's not like massive, but there is like when
There's
they do
something
play
there.
there, you can definitely see the London, like the London
Yeah.
feel between them. But it's
The
not all
Loftus
over.
Road derby.
Aye, it's only
yeah.
big when Fulham go there. When it's at Craven
So
Cottage,
I'd probably say average then.
it's like another one where like one set of fans force it.
Yeah.
Bristol Rovers versus Bristol City, I'd say is average, says Danny.
I disagree. The only reason I say that is the last time they played each other, mad outside the ground, pitch invasion, ridiculous.
That's fair.
For me, that goes in World War III.
Fair enough. I'm going to take an absolute stab at a quick fire 4 here. Sheffield Derby is, for me, that is doesn't matter the period of time, it's just always World War III with them.
Yeah.
It's always World War III. Always World War III. I'm going to say Luton Town versus Watford, I'm going to put an average.
I was thinking about putting that in poor.
Nah, I'm a little bit considerate to them. QPR versus Brentford is good. It is actually good.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. It is good. Leeds versus Middlesbrough is tin pot.
Yeah.
And then my last one is the last one, and after this, I'm staying out of it because the last time I know absolutely fuck all. So I'm going to say Bournemouth versus Southampton is hatred.
Yeah.
They always go at each other when I see them play. They always go at it. Like, it's one thing I like. After that, I'm out. You've got 3 minutes, 45 seconds to decide between you because I haven't got a fucking clue. It's over to you guys.
Right.
I'm out.
I'm going to take... Actually, I'm going to leave it to you guys first and leave the other ones to me.
So basically all of them then.
Sheffield Wednesday, Rotherham, average.
Yeah.
Keep
For
going.
me, the
Down.
Rotherham fans ruined that one.
What's that? Is that Shrewsbury? No.
Which one?
What's that one with Lincoln?
That's
That's Scunthorpe.
That's Scunthorpe.
Scunthorpe.
who's the one with Stoke?
Port
That's
Vale.
Port
Port
Vale.
Vale.
That's a nuts
Oh,
derby.
Port Vale, Stoke.
Yeah, actually.
That's got to be hatred in a World War III.
Yeah,
Nah, that one
it
goes
has
into
to be.
World War III.
Really?
Honestly, Google the Carabao Cup,
Wow.
or not Carabao Cup, Johnston's Paint Trophy with the Stoke under 23s. Prio's going off everything.
Jesus. Fair enough.
Southend,
Grimsby,
Colchester,
Lincoln.
Tin Pot.
In Timpot.
Yeah.
Fleetwood, Morecambe, Poor.
That's Tranmere. Is that Tranmere? I think that's Tranmere. Oh, no.
That's
No,
Tranmere.
Yeah.
They're not an important club.
I
They're
think that goes in the same pot.
their biggest fans are Wanker. That's automatic. tin
Sheffield
pot.
Wednesday, Doncaster, really? That a derby? Yorkshire derby, I suppose.
Location wise, yeah, but
It's not a Yorkshire derby people think of.
Yeah,
Doncaster
Tin
show up
Pot.
really for that one more.
They haven't played each other for ages, so
Yeah.
Tin Pot.
Yeah. Any other ones you guys can think of, or Gerard Nathan just quick fire?
I was gonna say like probably Grimsby, Lincoln, and Timpot. I don't know how good their derby is, but
Yeah.
I'm tempted to put both
Grimsby,
Grimsby's in
Scunthorpe.
poor just because of the inflatables.
Okay. Quick fire, Nathan. You've got a minute and a half.
Carlisle.
That is Carlisle Barrow. That goes in poor. Crewe, Macclesfield, Tin Pot. Darlington Hartlepool's in Tin Pot. Scunthorpe, Lincoln. I'm gonna put that in average, and then this one is good.
Who is it?
So that one is Oxford against Swindon. They absolutely hate each other.
All right, okay, fair enough. Well, there you have it, ladies and gents.
Smashed it.
We have successfully done this. We're going to put it on the World Football Podcast Twitter page, and Nathan's going to make sure that he says Nathan's tier list. Nathan killed the absolute vitriol. But in circumstance, Nathan, I just want to say thanks for having me on tonight. Absolute pleasure. Great show. Good laugh. And Doug,
Legend.
good to see you. And the lads as well. Good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely smashed it, guys. Thank you so much for everyone coming on. Reece smashed it. Julio smashed it. Doug, thank you so much for coming on once again. Absolutely smashed it. And great to see you. Of course, it's been a while, but hope to see you on. Yeah, he's going to be back on for more, isn't he? The creator of the show. It is this Legends turn next week. If you guys have enjoyed it, please remember to like, comment, subscribe to what you can support the podcast. That'd be appreciated. Like us on Spotify, etc., etc. And we'll see you all next time. Have a good evening, guys. Sarah.
Bye.
Live on YouTube. And listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football Podcast.